cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers. Happy Friday, April 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It was a sleepless night for me last night, and it didn't have anything to do with the Raptors. Felt like the Raptors did as good just battling back in that series, and I made money off the series, money line every game, and didn't bet game 2. I didn't bet the series. Look, it was awful second half, and but they're a young team, and it was NHL that just ate me up inside. And I guess I simplified everything too much with the dogs. But, with the Sharks game, I mean, that was at plus 270, and the only time the Oilers had the lead in that entire game was when they won it in overtime. And I was angry. I was just really angry because of all the momentum I'd built up in NHL. Just to give that shit away upset me very much. And one of the most important things in our business is to not let losses hurt more than the wins feel good. And I failed at that yesterday. I was just angry, just so angry. And I've got to figure out how to stop that from happening because it takes a lot of the enjoyment out of this. Now, you guys often see me angry, and then coming here and capping the card with you guys, gets me out of the anger and the rut that I'm in. So, and I didn't even lose money in NBA yesterday because I had the Mavs money line at plus 100. And, just watching the Raptors lose like that, they're a young team. But man, going 0-5 in NHL just fucking hurt me, angered me. And so I am getting that money back today. That's everything. All day is about getting that money back in NHL. So I've made 8 bets on the NHL card, and I expect glory. I expect fucking glory. I love the angles. I love the spots, and Babano's going to be our first guest, so we'll break down. We have 30 games to break down with Babano, so we got to be real quick and real tight. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Kobe Z4 or Z4 in the house says, I took all 3 NBA teams to close out in the parlay and cash that. Beautiful. Says he thinks Wolves will get it done. And Mr. Vape says, yesterday we took 10-unit hit down. Another day, another dollar. I hate hearing that, Mr. Vape, and I think I was a lot of the problem there in NHL. I was quite confident in the angles I had, and then they weren't even close. It was just that Sharks game that was close. It was very very irritating. Viper cashed big on Mavs money line and live bet on them as well. And says MLB was harsh yesterday. I didn't even, with the Orioles falling apart, I guess that was a sign of what was to come with the Airs in the bottom of the 5th inning. I still went 1-1-1, and then I didn't move on that over in the Diamondbacks Cardinals with Dakota Hudson on. I should have. I said I was going to if I didn't sweep the board, and I still didn't move on it. Angry. There's Nuke Worker in the house. So shout out to all those who had the Sixers. I'm not one of them, says Nuke Worker. I hear that. AOD cheering on the Sixers. There's Ron Walsack saying, in capping the Derby, we'll first look to eliminate horses from the top 4. What is your approach to me? Congrats on Barnes. Thank you, Ron. I don't start eliminating horses, although I find it pretty easy in this race. And usually it's tricky. I mean, would I have eliminated Golden Soul from the Orb Golden Soul exacta? That was the biggest exacta payout of my life. Not for like a $2 bet, but for the amount that I wagered on it, it was a huge score for me. And I would have probably, taken Golden Soul out of the exacta had I done that approach. And, the fact that I made so much money on that 2013 Derby did mess me up because I started picking my favorite horse and then taking it to the field, hoping that one of these bombs like Golden Soul would show up. And it's simply not been happening. Of course, Country House would have paid for me because I had the Country House exacta both ways with maximum security, more with maximum security on top. So, but no, there's been a formula for winning the Derby. Now, of course, Country House doesn't fit this, but it's a horse that gets out of trouble immediately. goes to the front and hangs on. And so that's the first thing I look at. And does that cut Zandon out of winning the Kentucky Derby? I think it does, even though he might be the most talented of all the horses, and he's going to be coming. So that's the first thing I look at. When I hit 6, and I really hit 7 in a row, but of course I can't count Maximum Security as a 7. Those were favorites that went to the front and got out of trouble in a 20-horse field. And so that's the first thing I look at, is who are the horses that are going to get out of trouble and fit the storyline of when I was cashing Derby after Derby after Derby, which I haven't been doing lately. So I still got a lot of work to do, but I can't wait for Saturday. Sammy Culmer in the house. A spreadsheet play today. Ron Crawford is the Sabres. That's the best bet on the board, in my estimation, with Generet's last game. He's been calling games for the Sabres since they started, and I believe it was 71 when they came in with the Nucks. And I've got them first period. I think Sabres first period is the best bet on the board. I think it's a beautiful bet. Do you have there, Ron? And I expect it to cash very comfortably for you. And where is the Sabres game here? Sorry, let me get that in front of the Sabres. Oh, that's the first game we're going to be talking about. That's just simply the best bet on the board, in my estimation. Turnsey in the house as playoffs are upon us. There's Jay Peasy ready to get to work. Real Deal Prime. There is Wally ready to get to work. Much love to you, Wally. Teleporting a Timbit. Slatsy says brutal and 4 night in NHL bounce back night with Blues regulation. Sabres money line tonight. One game to be played Sunday for us degenerates. Kraken Jets makeup game. Yeah, I saw that. Birdie says what a horrible night for me in NHL. But like I say yesterday, I really like this card. Yeah, I take the blame too. I was quite confident, and it was another sign of destroying these market moves and getting nothing out of it, which I think deserves a essay in the off season on why I think it's happening. Because there's a belief in our industry that if you're beating these market moves, well, then you've won. But maybe the issue is that you saw the public bet before the public bet it. And what's the good in that if it's not returning a positive ROI? A lot needs to be talked about. AOD, I had the Canucks on the puck line, but they did come back in overtime. JPZ says I like Sabres too, but might stay away from NHL after getting slapped last night myself. Oh, God. Oh, and spreadsheet play today for Ron Crawford in MLB is Oakland. Noli knows. Thank you. Thank you, Noli knows. Says I have something nasty on my head right now. Yes, the Giants are playing well, and I have their under for the season. Ronnie ready to go. Okay. Nutflush Allen, hope you had a wonderful birthday yesterday. I had Ella saying you a happy birthday song and called you Michael. She's very parental with you, Nutflush Allen. She's very, it's Michael's birthday. She was, sometimes Ella reminds me of a 70-year-old woman, and she sang you happy birthday like a 70-year-old woman. And I did stay off school ball yesterday, TJ. So that was good. There's Dennis Garcia ready to get to work. And Dan Bonner says, my second Friday in about 3 weeks, I took the day off just for the show. I love that, Dan. We love capping with you. It's great to have all you guys here. Sorry that I'm extremely angry. There's Coac that said, I doubled down on Mavericks after Raptors lost. Still made good money. Nice job. Nice job. Oh. Astute Chaos. Yes, I'm on the Caps heavy today. I stayed off them yesterday. I'm on them first period and full game. The game seems to be very, very important to them. There's B-Ball 619. We have not seen enough B-Ball 619. Sammy Comer just cracked a beer. If I did get my first bottle of Kraken since San Antonio, so it's very close. I could start hammering it right now. I'm going to try not to because I prefer to drink when I'm happy, not when I'm extremely upset. Nutflush Allen said, it's the beard, Nutflush Allen. Maybe if you didn't have the beard, I would know that it was your 47th birthday. Mr. Vape, you're a good man. Okay, we got to get to work. We have so much work. Pabano and I have so much work to do. And Johnny Gonzalez says front runners win more times than not. Yeah, especially when there's a 20-horse field. And so the question I'm battling with is, does Taiba, do we say, what the hell do we do with Taiba? I guess that's the biggest issue for me. Never run in a field with more than 6 horses. Only run 2 races. It was a real issue after that first maiden win, and they brought Taiba back pretty quick. When the vet was not approving it to race. So a lot to figure out. Still with the. And Dennis Garcia said, "Country House is a rat that lucked into the most egregious result in Derby history." Thank you. Beautifully put. Johnny says, "Speed horses and gate position is the most important for the Derby, in my opinion." I agree with Johnny Gonzalez, especially with that it's extremely difficult to race cast it if we don't know the gate positions. I think that's a very important point. So the main work has to be done once we see where everybody's at. Then we can really kind of construct how we expect the race to play out. Okay, we got to get to work. Red Girl Cash with that slap that ass play of the day. Great job, Red Girl. There's LJ from H-Town. Roger that. All you guys ready to work? There's TJ. Okay, so let me just get if there's anything I'm missing here with action, let me know, because I don't want to yes, Mr. Vape saying angry drinking is no bueno. And Lucas Ryan says, "Jimmy, I'm listening every day while I run my routes. So happy to have you guys as entertainment and good knowledge." That's great to hear, Lucas Ryan. Thank you for saying that. Astute Chaos says, "Tomorrow is his birthday." I will reach out tomorrow and wish you a happy birthday. There's Astute Chaos's action here. And let me just copy and paste TJ's action, and then we will get to work here. Babano ready and sitting in the wings, ready to get to work here. So let's get Colorado -1 and Atlanta and San Diego -1.5. Interesting to see the cash or the bigger bets not coming in on San Diego. It did give me pause. I still moved on the first 5 -0.5, but it gave me a pause from the double up. And I also wanted to bet Atlanta, but want to talk it out first. All right, let's get to work. Walla Walla Dose. DX Filer, Dennis Trusty. You want to talk horses? Trusty's the guy. So we're going to be doing a lot of that horse talk next week. And don't forget, Friday and Saturday, all day here at Pub Sports Radio, we'll be hammering horses. Let's get to work and bring on your guest every Friday right here on Betting with the Bag. Please welcome to the show from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's Steel Town, Canada's black and yellow, Mr. Ian Cameron in the house. Babano, how are you?
It's going to be a record, Jimmy, today. What, 30 games? 15 in the NHL, 15 in MLB. So we got work to do, my friend. We got no time to waste. We have to move with haste. How are you?
I'm frustrated. Last night was extremely frustrating. I clearly simplified things too much, and the not betting the Habs on Wednesday night. And this is something that happens to me often when I have a missed opportunity on Wednesday, because the Habs were plus 275 and I was humming and hawing, and then I didn't move on them, and then within 30 minutes they're plus 175, and then they win 4-3, and that missed opportunity made me hammer all the dogs or the ones that I wanted the next day. And I can't let one loss or missed opportunity kind of skew how I see things.
Cloud your judgment, you mean?
Yeah, and simplify things too much, because we know that just doesn't, at least for me, that doesn't work in capping. So I'm frustrated and angry, but I think that I expect you will be able to change it. And it's not the Raptors loss. The Raptors loss, I like that they came back and didn't get swept, and that's what meant a ton to me. But let's get to work. The last time we capped a Buffalo Sabres game, Blackhawks are at the Sabres here. It was another important Rick Jeanneret night. And the Hockey Hall of Famer started October 10th, 1971. The first 10,000 fans at KeyBank at RJ's last call. They're expecting a sellout. And to me, this is the easiest bet on the board. And Sabres -1 at plus 117. I already locked in. And I locked in the Sabres first period -0.5. And I got that Sabres first period -0.5 at plus 150. Let's talk about this spot here. First off, Blackhawks coming off their second straight win, a 4-3 shootout victory over Vegas on Wednesday night. Lankinen versus Anderson. Are you moving on this one?
I don't know about this being the easiest decision or easiest bet on the board. I think there's a certain St. Louis and a couple others later on that we'll talk about that are right up in the conversation. But yeah, there's no doubt this is also one of my favorite plays tonight. Buffalo, exactly. I'm just going to keep it simple. The only thing I'm going to make official here is actually I'll do the first period as well with you, and I'll do the -0.5 just to get better value at a plus price. And I'll just go with the straight Sabres money line here. In this game, I don't fault anyone for maybe looking puck line either with Buffalo, again, for greater value, but I'll just stick with the first period puck line -0.5, and I'll go with the full game money line for Buffalo here in the -1. Actually, it's -120 right now, best price at Win sports bet. So there we go. It's -120. It looks like the best we've got right now with Buffalo. Final home game. And I've said this actually a lot this week about these teams that are out of the playoffs. The final home game, you actually want to win it. Chicago won their final home game. We've seen, Ottawa, won their final home game. Or actually last night was the final home game. They won the night before against New Jersey. Yeah. So it doesn't always work, but they were playing Florida. Florida's playing for the President's Trophy. But a lot of times it's non-playoff team versus non-playoff team. The team that's at home down the stretch, especially if it's their final home game, they want to win. And obviously that's the case for Buffalo. And Buffalo obviously had a terrible game last night against Boston. And as you mentioned, 51 years of Rick Jeanneret comes to a close tonight. Final call. It's pretty cool what they're doing. They're actually allowing the Sabre fans that are at the game, because they were worried that a lot of people would want to stay home because they want to hear Rick Jeanneret. They want to see it on TV and listen to him call the game. Well, now they have this app that you can download in the arena tonight, KeyBank Center. Bring your headphones, plug them into your device, download the app, and you can listen to Rick Jeanneret's final call of the game tonight in your seat in the arena, which I think is pretty cool, pretty awesome. Well done by the Sabres doing that. I like them here. Look, they played good hockey at home. Chicago got the win they wanted, right? Vegas, the other night, that was their final home game at the United Center. They got the job done. They put the final nail in the coffin in Vegas's playoff hopes. Now they're turning around. They're going on the road for this finale. I don't expect necessarily Chicago to bring that same, want to in this game that maybe they did a couple nights ago. So, and Buffalo's been someone I've been looking to back repeatedly for weeks. So, yes, very, very easy decision as well for me. I'll go Buffalo first period puck line, full game money line.
A lot of people agreeing with us. Birdie Nervous says, I'm staying off this one unless I see Hawks sitting guys, which I don't think will happen. Says, I just am not as confident as you on the Sabres. Blackhawks have the better team, so I'm just staying off. I hope they win for you. I did listen to a few interviews of the players, and they're just so pumped up. They're like, oh, I hear it's going to be sold out. You could just see it in their eyes.
And they played a hell of a game in the last time when it was RJ Knight, when it was the ceremony for him, and they put his banner up, and they played Nashville that night. They jumped out. It was 3-0, I believe, in the first period. And they hung on. It was like a 1-goal win at the end of the day, but they won the game. You could tell having the building full and Sabre fans making noise made a difference. That hasn't happened at all this year for this team. And they got to play in front of a packed home building. That meant something to them, and it'll probably be a boost for them tonight as well.
Richie Rich says Buffalo off 5-0 loss all damn day at home. And Rodney Barton also locked it in. Real Deal Prime, he loves his Sabres. So we are in business there. In a business.
This is not just some announcer. This is a love affair, the Sabre fans with Rick Jeanneret. This is a beloved man in the community, a pillar of the community. He's always been walking around, town for years, for decades, taking pictures with fans, signing autographs. He is truly a man of the people, a man of the fan base, Rick Jeanneret. In addition to being just an incredibly excitable, passionate a broadcaster, it always comes out in his goal calls when he's calling a big save, a big fight. He's just absolutely one of the best. He's the reason why I grew up as a kid as a Sabre fan. It was not any one player. It was Rick Jeanneret listening to him. So he's beloved. They'll show up, I think, tonight.
Sammy Calmer, wondering if you have a Jeanneret impression.
All right, we'll have to. There's a shot. Rebound score! Derek Roy, top shelf where Mama hides the cookies on the power play. Buffalo takes a 2-1 lead. I'm trying to get my Rick Jeanneret voice. This guy, the guy battled back from throat cancer. Yeah. And maybe part of it is, too, all these decades, 51 years of really using your voice, Jimmy, and straining your vocal cords. When he's calling a goal, he is using every ounce of steam that he's got in his vocal cords to call these big moments. And for years, and I'm like, how does he keep his voice, in some kind of decent shape? But he's done it. He's a treasure. He's a legend. He'll be missed. It's a sad night, but hey, don't be sad that it's done. Be grateful that it happened, right? The old saying.
Beautifully put. And the Mayday call is the best call I remember. And I watched I was, going down the rabbit hole with Jenner last night and today, at 3 a.m, or whatever it was when I couldn't sleep.
A Sabre power play goal, you know that one. You're on the power play.
Yeah. But he was saying about Mayday, he was like, it was his first goal in 18 games. I had no plan for Mayday to score there. Like, it was, he just loves hockey so much. And, yeah, I love him. Puzzler said Colin Delia expected to start for Chicago so far. I think it's a great spot. Great spot. There's Spud in the house. Let's keep roll. Turnsy says, what's your lean on the over-under? I think goals are going to be scored personally, but I want to keep it clean. So by keeping it clean, in my estimation, is by just moving on the Sabres. Do you have a lean on the total?
Yeah, I'm with you over. For sure. If I were to bet I was probably going to just keep it to Buffalo, just like you, but rather than tack on the total. But I do remember too, the last time the Rick Jeanneret night went over the total, it was 4-3 for Buffalo that night, and it's about the first period over. The first period over might be a good look too. I think if you get involved in the over, at the very least, split your bet. First period over and full game over, because I think you'll get goals early in this game, particularly from the Sabres, just flying out of the gate. I think you'll see that. Rich
saying take the over in goals tonight on the entire card, but we got to keep rolling. We got to keep moving. It was important to talk about Jeanneret though as much as possible.
Well, I'll do a la. New worker, brother. Fontaine wins it for Buffalo in overtime. 'Tis the season. Fa la 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 Fontaine. There you go.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's keep rolling. 7 p.m. Eastern, Boston Bruins 51-25 and 5, 25-12 and 3 on the road at the Toronto Maple Leafs, 53-21 and 7, 38-2 at home. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, the site of a disturbing second half last night. Jeremy Swayman, 23-13 and 3, 2.37 goals against average, 9.15 save percentage against Shalgren, whom I'd like to fade badly, but I don't know if I don't want anything really to do with this game. Boston power play at 20.9%, penalty killing 81.5%. Toronto power play 27.2%, 82.4% penalty killing. Bruins are on the second half of back-to-back after that 5-0 win at home over the Sabres last night. It was their fourth straight win. Leafs coming off their second straight win, 3-0 at home over the Red Wings, and we've been told no Austin Matthews, no Mitch Marner, no Jack Campbell, no Johnny Tavares, and we know already that Bunting, Cachet, and Sandin are all not going to play due to injuries, but they are practicing. So Leafs are sitting everyone. And, Birdie's saying they want Boston first round. I still don't think they're going to get Boston first round. Now, the Bruins were supposed to do the same, but now that they have a chance to get out of this wild card spot, I don't see why they would. But maybe this is ridiculous. But in my estimation, I would rather play Carolina than Toronto. And I know you're nodding your head. That makes me feel good. I know a lot of hockey cappers don't feel that way. But personally, I think I would have a better chance against Carolina right now with their goaltending injuries than the Leafs, even with their weak goaltending. So I don't see why Boston would try to win this game. But take it away here, Babano. It's up to you now. Bruins, Leafs. Are you moving on this?
It's a really, really interesting debate because Boston has a horrible track record against Carolina. Absolutely horrible. And this year especially, they have been absolutely killed by Carolina, destroyed by them this year. So from that standpoint, you think maybe we got to avoid Carolina. And certainly it looks like Boston's playing like that like they want to avoid Carolina based on what we've seen. I always say, and I've said this about all these, debates, discussions about whether players and teams want to play someone in particular in the first round. We're just going on conjecture and what we think they want to do. Unless you're asking Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron and David Pastrnak and any of these Bruin players face to face, who do you want to play in the first round? You're just going on what you think they want to do at the end of the day. All I know is that they have had a terrible run of it against Carolina. So does that mean, hey, we want to take our chance with Tampa Bay instead, who they have had a better run of success against this year? Perhaps. But at the same time, your point, Jimmy, is very valid. Carolina's got some injuries right now. They didn't exactly play phenomenal down the stretch. Maybe it's a team you can take advantage of in spite of the fact you had a bad regular season head-to-head against them. So it's an interesting argument. I know in this game it's Bruins or nothing for me. It's probably going to be nothing in this game. I mean, when you talk about the Leafs, I mean, as soon as you see teams that look like they're taking a powder, and that's what we're seeing here tonight with Matthews out, Marner out, Campbell's out, Bunting's out. Tavares might be ruled out as well. They haven't completely made that decision yet on him, but there's a chance he doesn't play either. So you would think Boston's at an advantage here. It looks like they're playing everyone from the looks of it. Everyone's going to be in. Swayman versus Shalgren. Shalgren's actually played pretty well. Even the game against Tampa, remember he gave up a bunch in that game. It actually could have been worse. He actually had a terrific first period. It could have been even worse in that game. He's actually had some nice starts lately. This is probably going to be a game just like you. I stay off.
Huge move to the Bruins, though. Opened up at plus 105 yesterday. They're now minus 135. It's I want nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. So let's just move past it. We move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Florida Panthers, 58-17-6, 24-10-6 on the road at Montreal Canadiens, 21-49-11, 10-26-4 at home. And I guess I underestimated the want of the lesser lights on the Panthers to step up without the superstars. And
boy, was that impressive, by the way, last night by Florida. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
And now they're President's Trophy champions. We're not champions, but President's Trophy they've won. Yep.
Yeah, it was frustrating. It was frustrating just because, you beat them. I got in at plus 270. It goes off at plus 140 and it falls apart. It was extremely frustrating. There's David Summers in the house. Great to see you. Razor Sharp Picks in the house. The Capitals will get the Panthers, or Capitals Penguins, whoever comes last will get the Panthers birdie. So the Lightning Bruins are either the or the Hurricanes or the Leafs for those two. But let's keep rolling here. Brady saying, when you see lineups here for Florida, if they're switching, which I believe that 100% will Habs all day long, money line regulation. Florida has an opportunity to become just the 5th team in NHL history to win 59 games in the season. The 95-96 Red Wings, 62 wins. The 4 teams are tied at they're tied with the Lightning at 62, the 2018-19 Lightning. And then the Habs won 60 and 76-77 and 59-77-78. Habs had their 9-game losing streak snapped in that 4-3 win at the Rangers here. But this is another spot where it really seems like some of these Panthers are playing as hard as possible to be in the lineup for the playoffs. And at that point, and the idea that it's going to be Montembeault in net again tonight, and then Bobrovsky on the other side just makes me not interested in this spot. But let's just see what the market moves are. There's been a 35-cent move on the Habs. So they open up plus 265. They're now plus 230. But take it away here, Babano, Panthers, Habs.
Yeah, it's Montreal or pass. I'm thinking about Montreal. I might pull the trigger. I haven't yet. I want to make sure we see who's in for Florida. Last night, I mean, it was very impressive beating Ottawa. And Ottawa, that was their final home game. Ottawa wanted to win that game. It's just that Florida was better. And, even without Barkov and Forsling, Giroux, Gudas, Huberdeau, Lundell, Weegar, I mean, that's who was out last night. That's a big chunk of your production. That's a big chunk of your better players up front and along the blue line, especially Weegar being out. And, of course, Ekblad, who's been out for, months now. That's a lot of production out. That's a lot of key personnel out for Florida, and they still got the job done. But this is a different situation. Last night, going into the game against Ottawa, they still have a President's Trophy they could clinch. But now they've done that, and now there's absolutely nothing at stake and on the line tonight for the Florida Panthers. So this is a little bit of a different handicap than it was yesterday going into the Ottawa game. So, and again, we got Montreal's final home game. I will say this right now, and I know this too, as someone that's leaning Montreal, will probably take Montreal money line at some point during the day today. Yes, this sets up well for them. It's their final home game. Florida's got nothing to play for. They might rest the same guys they did last night. But Montreal is just so weak right now that it will be a struggle to win this game, just like it was for them against the New York Rangers the other night when it took them the final minute to pull that one out with the game-winning goal against a Rangers team that was resting pretty much all their best players that night. So that's what it is with Montreal. Even when situation sets up well and the other team's resting guys, they're still probably not going to get this done very easily, the Canadiens. That being said, I do think they're worth a look here tonight.
They are worth a look. I have enough action on this card in spots I really love, so I'm not moving on it. But I hear you. Let's just move past it at this point. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Red Wings, 31-40 and 10, 13-24 and 3 on the road at the Devils, 27-45 and 9, 16-9 and 5 at home. Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Now, is Hischier going to be back here because it's a home game and they didn't want him to travel? You would think so, but maybe I'm shocked that he's still not back. And these non-COVID illnesses, people being out for a week and a half, it's confusing here. Mackenzie Blackwood also back between the pipes. All of this is screaming that the Devils are going to try to win this hockey game. And that performance last night in the 6-3 loss to Carolina was atrocious. Turnsey says Devils in regulation. I guess I could be talked into the Devils as well. There's been no movement towards them. The Devils open up at minus 155. That's where they stand now. So I'd have to take them on the -1 line. It has gone from 6 to 6.5 and moved to 6.5 at 8:18 this morning. Red Wings come off their third loss in 4 games, 3-0 at the Leafs on Tuesday night. And Price is in the starter's crease at practice. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it is going to be Price tonight. Yep. Final game.
Okay. Well, does that change your thoughts on maybe moving towards them?
Not yet, but that's a good. Now, look, Price has actually been pretty bad. I'll be honest. I hate to say that because we know he's had issues. He's had injury issues. He had the mental struggles that he's had, all that stuff. So I don't want to criticize him too much. But he has had a tough time. I find he's slow moving across post to post, the crease. I find tracking pucks has not been very easy for him. Now, look, the defense hasn't helped him out. They're not good in their own end lately. Montreal, they've struggled there. But Price has really looked, like a guy that hasn't played a lot of hockey, for the better part of the last year. So keep that in mind. No,
it's an important point. Important point. He's not looked good except for that first game back. So Red Wings, Devils here. You got Richie saying New Jersey off 3-0 loss to Detroit on April 24th. New Jersey massive spot, especially at home. Line screams New Jersey. And then you have Chernsey saying Devils in regulation. I'd be curious just to see, and I know we don't do this in NHL, and Dennis Garcia would prefer if we don't do this on all the sports, and I can understand everybody kind of caps differently. But here with this spot in the we have 1,538 tickets, very small amount of tickets, 51% of the tickets, 66% of cash on their Wings, which surprises me. Are you interested in the Devils?
Yes, actually I am. One thing I will lock in is for sure is New Jersey team total over 3.5. That I like. Very much so. New Jersey team total over 3.5 -108 at Pinnacle. I like them to get 4. And they're off. Look, a loss last night to Carolina 6-3. It is a rest advantage for Detroit. They haven't played in a couple of days, but you look at all the injuries that they're dealing with. Mark Stahl, Adam Murney, Philip Zadina. Of course, Larkin's not back for the rest of the season, including tonight. Now, there's a lot of absences for New Jersey. We know that Hughes is out for the year. Andreas Janssen didn't play last night. Thomas Tatar didn't play last night. The flu bug's been running through this group. PK Subban's missed the last 2 games. Nico Hischier missed the last 3 games. But I'm hearing that the flu bug is clearing out a little bit, and there's a chance that many of these guys are on the ice tonight for the Devils. So I think that helps them out. And it's actually, I don't know how much this matters to New Jersey, but I remember that when they played Detroit just last weekend, in New Jersey, and Detroit beat them 3-0, and it was about as flat and pathetic and lifeless that the Devils have played all year. I mean, they only had 17 shots on goal in that game. It was a horrendous performance. But, again, that was really when that flu situation was starting to roll through the team. So that definitely is something you have to keep in mind. I think they just were totally lacking any sort of stamina or energy that day. They got that was an embarrassing loss to lose to Detroit, but especially get shut out at home to Detroit and then only get 17 shots. So I think the Devils actually do want to make amends for that. Like I said, 2 non-playoff teams, final home game for one of the 2 teams. I'm only looking to back the home team, in these kind of situations. So I don't love the price, obviously, minus 160. You can go regulation if you want, but I still think, with this Devils team, the way they play, it could be close. So I'm just going to bank on them, I think, finding the back of the net, which I think they will. I'll go Devils team total here, over 3.5.
Locked it in for you, minus 108. I'm hesitant to move on it, but it's the rest issue, the bias I have from watching how bad the Devils looked last night. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Washington Capitals 44-25 and 12, 25-9-6 on the road at the New York Rangers 51-24 and 6, 26-10-4 at home. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Samsonov versus Shesterkin. But I said, did someone say Georgie's confirmed for the Rangers? Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Rangers have nothing to play for, and get Georgiev in there. Capitals on the second half after a back-to-back after losing their third straight game, 5-1 to the Islanders last night. They were 6-1-0 up until April 18th. And here we are, April 29th, and they look awful. 1-2-2 over their past 5 consecutive terrible losses to the Islanders. The Rangers coming off their third straight loss, 4-3 at home versus Montreal on Wednesday, but I was shocked at the minus 110 line. Shocked. They need to get right. Everybody's saying it. All the guys in the room are saying it. The coach is saying it. Everyone's saying we got to get right here. I couldn't believe this was a pick'em. It was astonishing to me, and it still is. And maybe I'm seeing this wrong, but the way I was like, God, this Capitals have to bounce back here. They have to play hard here, and I've got them first period and full game minus 110 on both. And look at the Rangers had no Fox, Lindgren, Trouba, Zibanejad as healthy scratches. Panarin, Kopp are injured, but they're going to be good to go for the postseason. So Slatsy says Zibanejad and Kreider back in for the Rangers. Caps have been complete no-show last 2 games. I can't touch them. And Brady says no bet for me here. Caps have shut it down, and I just can't bet them. I've seen it so many times with them. When they are not motivated, I can't back them. This is what Caps are forever no bet for me. If you listen to the coach, he says we have to change everything right now. We have to. We can't go into the playoffs like this. We have to. They just got destroyed by the Islanders in back-to-back games. I know there's no Ovi, but there's no excuse for getting destroyed. Yeah. So I'm actually quite confident in this spot with the Capitals. Take it away, Babano. Capitals, Rangers.
Yeah, it's I don't want Washington. Period. I don't. I wish you luck. I hope, because I'm not betting the side in this game. I'm not betting the Rangers either. But the Rangers are going to have most of their guys back, other than Panarin. Panarin is still out. Kopp is still out. But you had no Kreider, you had no Zibanejad, you had no Adam Fox. You had a bunch of guys out against Montreal, and many of them are back tonight. And it is their final home game. I don't like much of anything with Washington at the moment. I think their play has been horrible. I don't trust their goaltending. Samsonov and Vanacek keep taking a step back, not a step forward. And that's an issue right now going into this game. I do think there's effort. I do think there is will for Washington to win. Are they good enough to win tonight? That's the question. And I do think from a Ranger standpoint, at least getting Kreider, Zibanejad, Fox back in the lineup, you at least want to put a good performance on the board, even though you've got nothing really at stake here in your final home game of the regular season. What I do like in this game, and I do have a bet on this game, is over 5.5. I'm taking advantage of that. With Alexander Georgiev in net, I expect the Capitals to actually get some offense going, even without Ovechkin if he doesn't play tonight. Now, he's listed as day-to-day. We know he didn't play yesterday, and he's been out the last 2 games, both games against the Islanders. He missed them. We'll see if he's in tonight. It hasn't been determined. It would be surprising, though, if he does play, in my opinion. I think they'll try to keep it safe and have him ready for the playoffs. But you're right, Jimmy. Ovechkin's out, but what's the excuse for not getting any offense against the Islanders when you've still got Backstrom and you've still got Oshie and you've still got Kuznetsov and you've got Mantha and you've got Wilson and you've got other guys you can count on to put the puck in the net. I think tonight against Georgiev, they can do that. We just saw Georgiev give up 4 goals to the Canadiens in the loss the other night. So I think they can go score some goals. On the flip side, the Rangers against this Washington defense and goaltending that I simply do not trust. Again, they're going to have Panarin, or not Panarin, but it's Zibanejad, Kreider, Fox back in the lineup. Those are all guys that are going to drive their offense, help their offense out, getting them back in the lineup. So I think take advantage of the 5.5. I think it's a great over bet, great over situation here at a great number. So for me, I'll go over 5.5, minus 120 with Washington, New York.
Yeah, I get it. And what exactly, Slatsy, is it that you don't agree with? I'm curious. Because, with the break, or that Washington's a pick to be confident with, or that you don't think that they really want to win this hockey game? Because the way I see this, they want to play the Rangers in the playoffs. I don't, but I know that Dennis thinks that the Panthers are vulnerable, but Dennis takes stands against teams he believes are getting too much love, and you get richly rewarded when you do that. And when you do that, you don't need to hit 45%. You can hit 36% and turn a big profit. And I understand Dennis's angle, and it's a really sharp way of handicapping, but still, we're talking about the President's Trophy winning Panthers. I mean, the Rangers, I would want to play much more than the Panthers. Razor, how long does Lone Star go to tonight? Because I want to be on Razor's show this evening, Cash Up Fridays. Would like to relax and have some drinks. I'm fucking. It was such a glorious week until last night. Fuck, capping such a cruel mistress. Over 5.5 and minus 124. Babano, you are on the board with the Caps Rangers. Let's move on to the Senators Flyers. So I moved on the Senators first period and full game. I truly believe that DJ Smith would have lost it on the group after the game. The fact that they would turn out that performance in the final home game of the year, I would have I would have lost my shit on them. And if they want to have a role with this team next year, you better show something. You better show something in this final game. And also for the player prop guys, I know Brady Tkachuk really wants to hit his 30th goal. I don't bet player props, but I know that's important to Tkachuk. This is a team that's 9-5-1 in April, and they had a 4-game winning streak on the line, and they threw it in the garbage. Slatsy says, I'm just saying that they don't care and completely mailed it in the last 2 games. If the Pens win it all, it's moot. Caps had their chance and blew it. Okay, I feel you. Brady saying no play for me here. Big Red says Ottawa can jump 2 positions in the draft if they win. Says stay away. That's interesting. Richie Rich says disagree. This is a great Philly spot on home ice. Look at that line. First period over 2. I just can't imagine. You get Forsberg back in net. You're going up against Martin Jones, possibly. Could be the 25-year-old Swede again. But from knowing DJ Smith, I just don't think he's going to sit back and let this happen, is the way I see it. Take it away here, Babano. I'm on Senators first period minus a half and Senators full game. I think Philadelphia's trash, but this is their last home game. And, the way you guys are talking in the chat makes me feel like I'm making a mistake. Babano, take it away. Senators, Flyers.
Yeah, that's the one reason I'm going to stay off Ottawa. You're right. Flyers' final home game. And I know the Flyers have had it rough, right? There's no question about that. They've lost 2 in a row. It hasn't been good. The last 2 games have been awful for Philadelphia. They lose 3-1 to Chicago. Don't really muster up anything offensively there. And then they get shut out by Winnipeg, 4-0, who hasn't been a picture of a great hockey team by any stretch down late in the season. So those are 2 pretty bad losses, outscored 7-1. But it is their final home game here. I'd expect a whole lot better effort from them for one night, final game in front of the home fans. At the same point in time, I still think Ottawa is better than Philly. And Ottawa is coming off, 4-0 loss. They didn't play. They just, Florida can make you look that way. But you're right. I thought they were missing something last night in that game against the Panthers, and getting shut out in your final home game is disappointing. So I expect them to bring it here tonight as well. I'd lean over 6.5 a little bit in this game. You got 2 teams that, playing for exercise, non-playoff teams. I think there's a hunger for both sides to want to win this game. So for that reason, be aggressive. Yeah, Noah Cates offensively. Johnny K is right there. I've been striking out with his goal scorer prop in these road games lately, but at home he's been producing, and I think now back home, Noah Cates for the Philadelphia Flyers. It's a great value goal scorer prop probably for this game tonight for the Philly side, but I'm going to pass. Just a small lean to the over. That's about it.
Turnsey going sends team total over 1.5 first period for big plus money. I think that the Senators show something here. I got plus 105 on the full game. It's now minus 105, so I feel okay about this spot. But Brady says Ottawa had more expectations than what they did this year. I think the Islanders and the Senators were hit by COVID the hardest and probably deserve a mulligan. We have 15 MLB games to break down. Babano going to be here for all of it, so we're trying to move through this quickly. Let's move on to the next spot, but I moved on the Senators first period and Senators full game. Columbus and those of you with the player props, I think Brady gets one. 7 p.m. Eastern, Columbus Blue Jackets, 37-7, 16-22 and 2 on the road at Pittsburgh Penguins, 45-25. You know, I can't even say Brady Tkachuk. I can't even say his name without thinking of kneecapping Jim Benning, how do you pick Olli Juolevi over Matthew Tkachuk? I mean, do you have no respect for these hockey-playing families that have gone through all the bullying, gone through everything to be the toughest player? Do you not watch his dad play? Who? Fucking Jim Benning, you fucking asshole.
The most boring guy to ever listen to. My goodness. You hear him in this press conference. I think one of the things we're doing here is we just got to get this roster to be a little bit like he's freaking no life in his voice. That guy put you to sleep.
God, he just makes
me almost put the Canuck franchise to sleep too. Yeah.
Oh God, he just like what? There's no fucking. And then McAvoy, Charlie goes in the 12th overall. You're gonna pick Olli Juolevi over him? Like, yeah. Just want to fuck it. Like and then making this trade with the Coyotes just to save your job when now we have Ekman Larsson's contract around our neck for the next 6 years,
which no one's gonna want to take. Yeah.
He's just. And he was a tough guy, but he's no respect for tough guys. He likes little guys for some reason. God damn, I hope one day I just bump into him. I just hope one day and if I get arrested for that, people will love it.
Yeah,
people will. That's worth getting arrested.
That's universal agreement with the Canucks fan base is disdain for Jim Benning's performance on the job. Yeah.
I'll get arrested. If I get arrested for something like that, I'll make that as big a media thing as I possibly can. Who cares if I never can go to America again? It'll be worth it just because I fucking punched Jim Benning right in the fucking mouth.
Jim Rutherford's going to look like freaking the Wayne Gretzky of GMs compared to Jim Benning.
Tkachuk goes for 100 points this year. Okay, sorry. Columbus on the second half of a back-to-back after a 5-2 win last night at home over Tampa. Werenski and Blankenberg are still going to be out. Boone Jenner hasn't come back, but they showed heart in their last home game of the year. And talk about a general manager who's ruined the hockey team. I always screw up the pronunciation. I've got to read it to do it right. But the Finnish general manager, the Blue Jackets, they had a big, tough team to play against. I mean, the Domi for Josh Anderson trade, I mean, how could you possibly make that trade? How could you want a little 5'9" player over a 6'4" tough Josh Anderson just because he was coming off injury? You had no respect for him. Just ridiculous. Penguins coming off ugly 5-1 loss at home on the Oilers on Tuesday night. 6-9-2 since March 23rd. They have beat Columbus 10 straight times at home. No Yari with the broken foot. Zucker, we don't know about. He's dealing with a lower body injury. I mean, did you see the line on the Penguins in this game? When I looked at it, it was minus 380. Look, I know the Pittsburgh Penguins want to win this game and need to win this game. Up. But minus 425 now. It's ridiculous. Are you moving on this one?
I'd consider the over in this game, 6.5 with Columbus. I cashed an over with them against Tampa last night. At least now, this Jackets team with at least having Werenski back, some of their key pieces back, better offensively for sure. What I like in this game is Jack Roslovic again, more than anything else. It's Jack Roslovic to score. Well. I mean, what this guy's been doing is just absolutely insane. He scored a goal last night in the win against Tampa Bay. What has he got in his last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games? He has 10 goals in his last 9 games, and he's got 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points in those 10 games as well for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he's been a machine lately, Roslovic, and now he's on the top line as well. So you definitely want to put that in your betting portfolio tonight. Jack Roslovic points and goal scorer prop tonight for sure in this one. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Werenski's still out. Yeah, you're right. Werenski's still out. Blankenberg's still out. Lyonnais not coming back. Corrali's out. Jenner's out. Tessier's out. Same guys for Columbus here. I thought Werenski might come back, but no, he's confirmed out again here for Columbus at the end of the season. I mean, Pittsburgh, I think they want to win tonight, but do I want to lay minus 420? No, especially when you're talking Casey DeSmith in net, who had a really bad performance against Edmonton, 4 goals allowed on 41 shots. And he's a guy that can sometimes be great and sometimes be poor and below average. I mean, it really is tough to gauge, what you're going to get from him. Lean over. I'm not going to make it official, but I think I'll probably bet it later over 6.5.
Jean-Francois Berube in goal, the journeyman. I can understand, he's got 3.61 goals against average, but he's got a better save percentage than Merzlikins. And look, he cares about this game. It cares about being in net, but I can understand anybody wanting to fade Berube. I just keep going back to this. There's bullying in North American sports when you come up. Yep. And if you got skills, people want to hurt you. And it's bad. But what it creates is these North American skilled players and top draft picks have to go through other teams wanting to hurt them every night when they go out there. You listen to Mike Bossy talk about, there were times where he had to work up the courage to get off the bus because he knew what he was about to face. What does that create? Mike Bossy tells Al Arbour he's going to score 50 goals in his first year because of what he's taken, all the abuse he's taken in Quebec. You have to understand that these young North American players and the Kachucks and these guys, they've been pushed around and bullied, and that's why they're so tough. And you're going to pick Olli Juolevi over Charlie McAvoy, this smaller defenseman who's been, it's just you have to have a little bit, I think, more respect for the toughness of North American hockey players coming up. And I know we're trying to get bullying out of sports, and I hope we do. But these guys have fought through all this stuff, these smaller players, to get to where they are, and then you're going to fucking take Olli Juolevi over them? You fucking schmuck.
Yeah, because Matthew Tkachuk doesn't come from a very, very big-time hockey background or have a father that played a million games in the league and was well-respected and always played the game hard every single night. And you wouldn't want to bring those kind of elements to your team now, would you?
Don't you think Keith would have made sure these guys, if my dad didn't care how many times I got hit, but I had to jump up off every time I went down. If I didn't jump up and show that it didn't hurt me, he would lose it on me. That was what mattered more than any goal, than anything, was that I got up faster than I went down. Because I was smaller and I could score, so people wanted to hurt me every time I was on the ice. And that, builds toughness. And I'm not saying that the Finnish players aren't tough like that, because Finnish players are the toughest of all the Europeans. But fuck, I digress. Lightning New York Islanders next up. You didn't make the over official, did you?
Yeah, I will on that Pittsburgh game, because I see a 6 at minus. It's juicy at minus 130 at Caesars, but 6.5 in most other spots. But if it's a 6 there, I'll take the 6, because I really do think it's worth it to get the 6.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just just so full of rage right now for some reason.
And all of that shit comes back to the forefront when you're the fan of a team that, you just saw your playoff dreams get dashed a few days ago, Vancouver, and, they fucked around too long with Green, I think, and they maybe should have made the change earlier before this. Who knows? But the one thing for sure is, look, this team's got a pulse again with Bruce Boudreau, and he's going to get a full training camp next year with that team, and give him a full year, and there might be a playoff reappearance for this Vancouver team.
By the way, I read the Mike Bossy. God, I know we got so much work to do, and I'm sorry, but I read the Mike Bossy thing that he wrote when he turned 60 in the Players Tribune. Maybe I should tweet it out because it was moving, but it was also, you see the character being built by the man. Like, you just see these guys who get pushed around so much, they build this strength, and then then they score 50 goals every season of their career. All right, let's go with Lightning, New York Islanders, Vasilevsky versus Sorokin. Tampa on the second half of a back-to-back after an ugly 5-2 loss at Columbus last night. Snapped their 4-game winning streak. Kucherov, a goal in his 8th straight game. I mean, God, I already see him without his shirt on drinking a beer talking about winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, this guy just turns it on. 10 goals and 11 assists over his last 8 games. He's an absolute monster. And now Stamkos has done the same thing. 8 straight multi-point performance. I mean, these guys are monsters. Islanders on the second half of back-to-back after the second straight win over the Capitals last night. Defeated Washington 4-1 on Tuesday, then beat them 5-1 at home last night. Barzal looked good. He's a good player. 16, 10, and 2 over the past 28 games. I did not move on this spot. Did you move on this spot? Islanders, Lightning.
I have not, but I think Tampa Bay does want to show better tonight, right? That was I think, totally flat game last night against Columbus. Not good from their standpoint. I do think they want the Leafs. And this is not me asking Stamkos or Braden Point, hey, who do you want to play? This is just my sense. They would not mind playing Toronto, and I think they want to seal that deal tonight and get a victory against the Islanders, which would do that. So I'd lean Lightning in regulation. But the Islanders are one of those weird teams where you'd think, this team's crushed not being in the playoffs after making deep playoff runs the last couple of years. And look what they just did. They beat Washington back-to-back games. So this team hasn't thrown in the towel just yet. And there's history with them in the Lightning. So maybe they want to get up for this final home game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I think Tampa Bay wants it. They want Toronto. They want to win. But the Islanders haven't rolled over yet. So I'm going to stay off the game.
Yeah, the Islanders are trying to play spoiler, to do something. And, Trotzy and Lou will get them pumped up. I'm going to have interest in Islanders futures next year because I think we'll get an enormous price and we know what they're capable of. And they had the COVID to start the year. And also they'd been playing more games than any team other than the Lightning over the last few years. So, yep. All right, let's move on here. Vegas Golden Knights at St. Louis Blues. I look back at this bet and I kind of wish I had just taken them on the -1 line. The Golden Knights are now taking so much heat. Eichel's taking so much heat that it wouldn't surprise me if they do play here. But Husso's in net, and the Blues had their 3-game winning streak snapped, a 5-3 loss to Colorado. That stopped that team record 16-game point streak. And, I expect the Blues to go all in here to get home ice advantage or to have the opportunity of home ice advantage. So I moved on the Blues on the puck line. And if I think I'm just angry over what happened last night. I got plus 140, and right now it's at plus 145. So market kind of moving slightly away from me. But I did think that the Blues were as you kind of referenced earlier in the show, a really nice opportunity for us to make money. But I'm starting to get a little bit of cold feet. Take it away here, Babano, Knights Blues.
Yeah, no need to overthink it. St. Louis in regulation -110. For me, that's the way I'm going to go in this one. Blues in regulation -110. Vegas might be saying all the right things, and hey, there's players getting criticized. There's nothing I think that can, from a motivation standpoint and getting up for this game, there's nothing I think that can overcome the disappointment of them not making the playoffs. And I think that really hurts. I think that's really, really something that is going to really, really hurt this team, that with this group, this roster, they didn't get in. Now, look, they had a ton of injuries. They had a shit ton of injuries earlier this year. We know that all at one time, there was no Max Pacioretty, no Stone, no Eichel. McNabb and Martinez were out multiple games on the blue line. I mean, they were just ravaged earlier this year. But this team didn't play well enough, when they started to get everybody back. And that is why they are not in the playoffs. And I don't trust them in a meaningless road finale just after having their hearts ripped out and missing the playoffs. Whereas St. Louis, it's huge for them. I mean, they have to try to keep pace with Minnesota, who got the victory last night against the Calgary Flames in OT. It's up to the Blues now to keep pace in this battle for second in the Central. Both of them, St. Louis 2 points back. They've got to, it's going to be tough now because Minnesota's up by 2. They both have just this one remaining game. St. Louis has got to win here, and then they've got to hope that Minnesota doesn't pick up anything in their game tonight against Colorado. That's the way it goes here. So, again, a lot has to happen for St. Louis, but there's still mathematically a chance. And this is huge to get home ice because both of these teams are so good on home ice. We've talked about this before with this Blues Wild first-round series. So for me, St. Louis in regulation, minus 110. I think they get it done.
St. Louis in regulation for Babano. We'll be moving on to MLB here shortly. We're trying to hammer through these last few games, and I've been the problem for this going too long. Colorado Avalanche, Minnesota Wild, Francouz versus Marc-Andre Fleury. And Brady says, does DeBoer get fired? I'm certain that he gets fired after tonight's game. Marc-Andre Fleury, 27, 23, and 5, 2.94 goals against average, 907 save percentage. He's not liked his play with Minnesota, but I just think that he's seen Talbot outplay him, and I guess he's just a little surprised by it. But Colorado in the second half have a back-to-back after losing their fourth in 5 games, 5-4 in a shootout to the Predators last night. Mikko Rantanen has returned. So is Devon Taves, plus 52. Devon Taves, what a spectacular player. Don't forget Lou Lamoriello let him go for a second and third round draft pick, and I think Lou Lamoriello is a spectacular manager, but that was a mistake. Minnesota also on the second half of back-to-back won their 6 and 7 games, 3-2 in overtime over Calgary. They can clinch second place with at least 1 point. Zuccarello going to miss his 5th straight with lower body injury. Captain Jared Spurgeon, upper body. Matt Dumba, upper body, are expected to play. So that's big. That's very big. Spurgeon and Dumba expected to play. Spurgeon's missed the last 2 games. Dumba's missed the last 12. I moved on the Wild at plus 110, and right now they are minus 120. So beat that move for 30 cents. Take it away here, Babano. Are you moving in Avalanche Wild?
Yeah, I'll be on Minnesota, even though the line's moved a little bit. I'll take them now. Still the best line we can get right now, which is currently minus 110 for Minnesota at Caesars. We'll go with that. Actually, that might be a stale line. Let's use minus 118 instead at Bet Online. I don't think my odds screen has Caesars updating, so let's do Bet Online minus 118 with Minnesota right now in this one. Yeah, I like Minnesota. I mean, at home. Colorado, look, last night blowing the game against Nashville. What happened there? They ended up losing in a shootout here against the Predators last night. I like Minnesota here at home. It just means more. Colorado's going on the road. They're still going to be without Landeskog. Look, they're going to have to, like you said, Rantanen came back. That's certainly going to help them a bit. But it's quite simply, this game just means more to Minnesota. Colorado's thinking about next week, getting game 1 going. I don't think going on the road beating Minnesota is of utmost concern. Minnesota, we know how great they've been at home all season long. And don't look now, but tonight's Marc-Andre Fleury in that, I think there's a big start for him as well, because he's had a couple bumps in the road since he's been with the Wild. And more than anything, I don't like what I've seen from Francouz lately in the Colorado net. He has not been necessarily very good. He gave up 3 in a loss to Seattle, 4 in a loss to Winnipeg. He has definitely been not so sharp lately in that for the Avs when he's gotten the opportunity. So I think Minnesota takes advantage. They win minus 118.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely with you. Flames, Jets, next spot, Vladar. I'm not sure if is it the second half. It's not. So it might be Comrie again. Comrie playing well, outplaying Hellebuck for sure. So Calgary on the second half of a back-to-back after the 3-game winning streak snapped in 3-2 loss to Minnesota last night. Johnny Hockey at the 40-goal mark, so he joins Tkachuk and Lindholm. That's just the 3rd time in franchise history, 3 40-goal scorers. I mean, they're a dangerous hockey team. Jets come in off their second straight win, 4-0 home over the Flyers on Wednesday night. Kyle Connor, 92 points, the most by a Jets player since the franchise relocated to Winnipeg in 2011. I'm not on this spot, but I'd be curious. What is the line right now here with Winnipeg is sitting at where the hell is it? Plus 125 for Winnipeg. What do you think here? Birdie leaning to the Jets. Are you moving on this one?
Yeah, it's Jets for me or pass. I don't know if I'll make it official, though. I mean, it's Hellebuck, by the way.
It is Hellebuck
confirmed in net. And look, he's had a tough season. He did have a good last start, though. Colorado played very well when they beat the Avalanche in his most recent start. Very impressive. That 4-1 win. It came last Sunday. 1 goal allowed on 31 shots. So it was a 32 shots. So it was a very good performance from Hellebuck. I think it's important for him to try to go out on a positive note here this season because it's been a kind of a down year for him. He knows that he's kind of slipped in terms of being in this upper echelon elite goaltending pecking order, if you will. So I think it's important for him to try to have a strong finish to the year. How much does Calgary want? Again, Calgary's locked in everything. They just came off, a huge physical game with Nashville. A pretty intense, competitive overtime affair last night with Minnesota. 3rd game in 4 nights for the Calgary Flames. Now you're going on the road, finishing up the season here against Winnipeg with not a single thing at stake. Not a single thing on the line here tonight for this Flames team. So I think it's a clear Winnipeg spot. They're on my radar. Haven't bet them yet, but I might later. I don't know if I'm going to. They have been impressive here at home. These 2 home games. This homestand so far, 2-0. Beat Colorado 4-1. Beat Philly 4-0. You know what? I'm a high-volume guy. I'm not going to hem and haw about it. Plus 135. I see that's the best price at Win. I'm going to take it with Winnipeg.
You're going to take it because they were plus 160 when they came out on Bet365 yesterday, and even then, just the way that Sutter's wanting the Flames to play, we're watching it. They're just playing.
They didn't make it easy on Minnesota last night. That's true. No. They haven't mailed anything in here since they clinched everything. Look what they did against Nashville. They beat them in overtime, and then last night against Minnesota, who playing with all the utmost effort in the world and will, because they're trying to get that second spot away from St. Louis in the Central, and Calgary took them to overtime.
Richie Rich on the Winnipeg team total over 2.5 and the money line. Raven in the Desert on a plus 428 parlay. Bruins, Wild, and Blues. All right, we're almost at MLB. Ducks, Stars. Look, I simply just don't trust the Stars under any circumstances. And even though you would think that they would go all out here, they've already clinched the playoff spot. But I guess Nashville's win has put them in a tough spot for. And pick your poison. The Flames, Avalanche. They're both extremely tough. And I guess I'm realizing this more and more over the last few days. But with the injuries that the Avalanche have had and their captain not playing, maybe the Avalanche are easier squad to face than the Flames. Very tough options. But the Pavelski, Robertson, Rupi, Hintz line, 16 goals, 21 assists over the 10-game stretch. Nobody else is doing anything for this hockey team. But minus 235, I simply don't trust the Stars, but they should take care of business. Take it away here, Duck Stars.
Oh, hell no, with Dallas laying this price. No way. That's just not going to happen here. I think the draw could be live in this game. I'm not making this official, but draw, I think, is all Dallas does, even against weaker teams, is play 1-goal games. Look at the recent home games that the Dallas Stars have played. They are the epitome. They are the king of not doing anything easily. Look at the Arizona game, and they ended up losing that game. They have a 3-0 lead. Oh, we're going to easily clinch our spot. No, Arizona comes back, ties it at 3, and it's nerve-wracking time down the stretch there to get that 1 point that they needed to clinch a spot. They just don't do anything easily. Look at these recent home wins. Like I said, Dallas 2-1 over San Jose. They actually lost to New Jersey at home. They beat San Jose 2-1. They beat Seattle 3-2. Again, barely squeaked it out. They ended up, of course, losing to Arizona a few nights ago. That's just the Dallas Stars. They don't do anything easily. This is the final game of the year for Anaheim. Final game ever for the captain, Ryan Getzlaf. Now, I think it was a bigger deal, the home game, the final home game.
He's not playing, though, right? He's not traveling with the team.
No,
that was his final game of his career.
That was. Okay, yeah. There we go. That's a good
Which
point.
I have no idea why. I just
about that. Yeah. I guess they just wanted to make it, final home game, final game, period for him. But that takes away a little bit from it. But Dallas has clinched their spot. I don't think there's a big deal about them getting Colorado or Calgary. I think they're in tough either way. I just think they didn't win anything easily. They've already clinched their spot. I don't think the motivation's nearly going to be as high this year. So if you want to bet something in this game, you can get some nice prices here with Anaheim, Dallas, draw game to go to overtime. You can get it at plus 406 at Pinnacle. Plus 406 with that draw. I think that's worth a few bucks.
I did cash the over by a half point. Now they're at 96.95.5 for the season total. So they did me well enough, but disappointing performance. But North Ender saying Radulov has come back and looks really good. He's a playoff type guy. So we'll see.
Let's move on to can't be Robertson, Pavelski, and Hintz all the time.
Yeah, but I love those guys so much. I love that line so much. Canucks Oilers next up. They have Spencer Martin listed to go back to back due to the injuries we have with Halak and with the Iron Lady Maggie Thatcher Demko. So Spencer Martin going to be right back in between the pipes. The Canucks on the second half of a back-to-back. Thank you, Jose. After a 3-2, that's the first time I've smiled really in about 16, 18 hours. So thank you for that. Can we see the other one? Can you pop up the other one for us? Vancouver was last in the Pacific with Travis Green. You want to talk about a player who's just, you talk about Jim Benning just being lifeless. Travis Green was the most lifeless. I mean, he just gave the reporters absolutely nothing. Thank God Bruce Boudreau's there to at least give the fans and the reporters and everybody
One of the
just
better press conference head coaches in the NHL, Bruce Boudreau, because he's got that little sense of humor. He's got that quick wit. He gives you a little interesting tidbits, and he's very honest. He's upright. He doesn't hold anything back. I love listening to Bruce. Daryl Sutter. There's a handful of coaches that you go above and beyond trying to listen to their press conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. They're Bruce is special, and Sutter is just such a. I mean, Viking Alberta, tough. I mean, I just love him. Okay, let's talk. We only have a couple games left before we break down the MLB card. I was in bad shape going into the last couple games of the night in NHL last night, and I had this losing. You know, when you're losing and you expect to lose, and the Sharks go up 2-0, and the whole time I'm like, oh, they're gonna screw this up. But I didn't live bet the Oilers, which I should have, so I wasn't so angry. But they're going to screw this up. And then every time the Oilers get back into the Sharks score another goal, right, to give me a little bit of hope. When they made it 3-3, Bonino scored with a beautiful pass from Couture, 4-3. And then, but I'm like, of course the Oilers are going to score, and they do score. And of course the Oilers are going to score in overtime. They do. It was so frustrating. Second half of back-to-back for the Oilers. Hyman scored the winner. A nice pass from Nuge. Koskinen made 40 saves. They're 13-0-1 over the past 14 home games. And Vancouver's got nothing to play for. And the Oilers have gone from -200 to -170. I wonder if the Oilers sit anybody. Richie Rich says Edmonton Smack City. Line shows it too. Take it away here. Yeah, I had +270 on the Sharks. I mean, it would have changed everything for me last night. It was really irritating. Are you moving on this one, Canucks Oilers? I don't have a play on it at this point.
I don't either. Let's see who's in net for Vancouver. Because I'm seeing it could be that young Latvian they just called up from the AHL. It's Arturs Silovs.
He's been bad though in the A. So
yeah. It's tough. Yeah.
Are you throwing him into I thought about it too, and I was like, I think Spencer probably goes back to back. It's still a NHL hockey game here. But I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, Babano, take it away.
Yeah, we know it won't be Demko. We know it won't be Halak. They're both out. It's Spencer Martin or it's Arturs Silovs here, the Latvian in net. You're right. He's been struggling in Abbotsford. There's no doubt about that. His numbers there just aren't very good. But I'm seeing some sites having him projected. Now, this isn't confirmed yet, just projected as the goalie. If he's in, I might look over the total because, look, Edmonton here, you could see the lack of defensive intensity after they clinched they clinched everything the other day with the win against Pittsburgh. They clinched second in the Pacific, home ice against LA in the first round. And then the first game after that, look, they kind of played pond hockey, shindy. Now, maybe Jay Woodcroft whips them into shape and say, hey, we can't play like that tonight. It's our final game. Let's play more a playoff style of hockey. But I'd certainly lean over the total. I'm just going to wait to see who's in net. Vancouver, look, big comeback against LA, final home game. I'm not trusting them second of back-to-back here going on the road. And say what you will about Edmonton. They played by far from their best game last night. Horrible start, and yet they still overcame it, and they won that game. It shows you that Edmonton's still just so much better, just overall talent right now, capable of winning this game. So I'm off the side. I would be interested in the over, depending on who's in net.
Sharks Kraken next up. I don't see why the Sharks would have any energy in the spot second half of back-to-back after losing in overtime last night, and they were trying hard. They completely outshot Edmonton. Kraken coming off their fourth straight loss, 5-3 at home to the Kings on Wednesday night. There's been a 5-cent move to the Kraken, and I get it. Maybe we bet the Kraken here. I haven't moved on it. Should we?
We do. I did. I'm on them here. -120 right now is the best price out there with them. Very, very simple. Final home game. I think they care. I think they want it. It's your first year in the NHL expansion season for the Kraken. It's not been a great year, obviously. It's been a struggle. This is a team that's going to be building for the long term. But for tonight, they absolutely want to, I think, put a win on the board. The final home game of the very first inaugural season for the Seattle Kraken, for the Climate Pledge Arena faithful there in the Emerald City. And for San Jose, look, battled their guts out last night. Good effort from them. a wild game, blow the lead, lose in overtime. Now you're on the road, second straight night against a rested, motivated team. Seattle, this is a pure Seattle spot. Shame on them if they lose. They should win. I expect them to. Seattle minus 120.
This will be the first edition of the card. This makes a ton of sense. I should have figured this out already. I don't know why I didn't. That makes sense. You got minus 120. It's minus 125 available at Bet365 right now. I wouldn't even hesitate to put it in on the -1 line. So I'll take a little bit more time on that, but I'm definitely going to be adding that. Final game on the card, Predators, Coyotes. Predators had their 3-game losing streak snapped in a 5-4 shootout win at Colorado last night. So let's just take a look at here. And then we're getting into MLB, but Predators up 1 point. Up 1 point on the Stars. They just need 1 point here. So I imagine that they attack, but could the Coyotes fight here? It's the last game at Gill Arena. If anybody cares, nobody cares. It's the last game at Gill Arena. It's crazy that nobody cares. Nothing.
Big effort for the last game at Gila River Arena. Woo!
Nobody gives a shit. Here, take it away. Are you moving on Predators, Coyotes?
Yeah, I like the over in this game a lot, actually. I mean, Arizona, how much more? They've just been over machines. They can't stop anybody. The defense and the goaltending has been horrid for weeks. It's probably going to be, I would assume, Vejmelka in net for them. Nashville's been trending over the total, though, as well. Look at these Nashville games. 4 straight overs, 6-2, 5-4, 5-4, 5-4 in these 4 games. They're scoring goals right now in bunches. Duchesne, Johansson, Forsberg leading the way, but with UC Saros out, and I'm reading shit, Jimmy, that he could be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Initially, John Hines just yesterday said to everybody, we're hopeful he's back for game 1. But then these Nashville reporters are chiming in that they're looking more toward maybe 4 to 6 weeks without UC Saros. And they are absolutely fucked in the playoffs without UC Saros. Big Siv Dave is not going to get you far. All right? Not at all. He's Big Siv Dave. I don't want to hear this big save. He hasn't made a big save in years. All right? So stop with that. It's Big Siv Dave Riddick. I don't trust him. Connor Ingram's too young. Now, he's going to start tonight, Connor Ingram, for the Nashville Predators, but he's got very little body of work at the NHL level. And when you look at it, he made 2 starts earlier this year, 6 goals allowed in those 2 starts, 3.03 goals against, .906 save percentage. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. And I do expect Arizona, final game to compete. Obviously win, no, but they did beat Dallas, and they have put up a fight. They beat Minnesota. It's been a nice week for Arizona. Let's give them some credit here, the way they've played. But Nashville needs a point. This could be another draw. Nashville, look at the last few Nashville games, all to overtime, past regulation, each of the last 3 Nashville games. I'm making that official too, Jimmy. I'm making this official, this draw for Nashville, Arizona here. Draw at plus 440 at Pinnacle, plus 440. The draw at Pinnacle for Nashville, Arizona.
You have hit a huge draw so far this year working with us. So locked in plus 440.
Dallas, Arizona draw Wednesday night.
Yeah. And Richie Rich says Arizona, Nashville in a horrible spot. Arizona team total over 2.5. And Brady says, I really like Coyotes here. Not as much as the Ducks, but Preds have had many games this last week. Take the plus money on Coyotes here as a gift. And I agree with you. If there's no Saros, I think the sweep is in business. You think Matt Duchesne and Ryan Johansson are going to step up in the playoffs? Although Duchesne has surprised me with such a great year. But I think the sweep will be in business here if there's no Saros. All right, let's go over all action.
By the way, over as well, Jimmy. Official play here. Over 6.5. You can get that at Bet Online. It is, come on up here, minus 105.
Okay, you are locked in. Let's review all action here. We'll go over everything here. So Babano's on the Sabres minus 120 in first period, minus 0.5 at plus 161. I got the Sabres minus 1 at plus 117 and the first period minus 0.5 at plus 150. So we're both on the same page there. Then Bruins, Maple Leafs, we are off. Panthers, Habs, we are off. Babano's on the Devils over 3.5 at minus 108. He's on the over 5.5 in Capitals, Rangers. I'm on the Capitals first period and the Capitals full game. We'll see if this was a mistake, but after getting destroyed by the Islanders, they just can't go into the playoffs like this. I'm on the Senators first period minus 0.5. I'm on the Senators first period minus 105 and full game plus 105. Babano stayed off that spot, and there was some love for Philly in the chat. Makes me a little nervous. Babano's on the over 6 in Columbus, Pittsburgh. I'm off that spot. We are both off Tampa, New York Islanders. You're on the Blues in regulation at -110. I'm on the Blues -1.5 at +140. And looking back, I probably would have preferred the -1. Babano, you're on the Wild at -118. I got them last night at +110 and tweeted out, made it official. You're on the Jets at +135. I get it. I'm not going to do it because if I should have gone it last night because I was staring at it at +160, 160, but I didn't move on it, so I'm going to let that go. Ducks, Stars, we are off. Canucks, Oilers, we are off, and it looks like the Latvian will be making his debut here. So you still have the opportunity to make it take that over. Babano's on the Kraken -120 and talked me into it. The chat's on it as well. I'm going to take the Kraken at home. I think it's a really nice spot. Might take it on the -1 line. That will be my only addition. Babano's on the over 6.5, Nashville, Arizona, and the draw at +440. Noli says, what's the NHL under? It's a real bad time for unders, Noli, the last 2 days of the season. The accountability and defensive responsibility wanes for the top teams. So that's why Richie Rich was saying take this salami over tonight. So I'm not saying that you couldn't find one if you dug deep, but it's the last 2 days are notoriously high-scoring days in the NHL. There we go. There's Dommy Gun. Perfect timing, Dommy Gun. We get into Major League Baseball right now. Let's go. It was a 1-1-1 day for me. Losing the Orioles first 5 plus a half at +110 when they're up 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th to 2 errors was very frustrating. But
That's so brutal. I had Baltimore first 5 too. Terrible.
Oh, and you probably did you have it at +175 or whatever?
Yeah, like the money line.
Yep. Oh wow! I mean,
money line on first 5. Yep.
See, I had them at first 5 plus half at +110, and it was still very frustrating.
I got one. I lost one I deserved. I won one I probably didn't deserve with Colorado Philly over. I mean, that one inning it blew up for Philly, and we got the over. So I lost a game I should have won. And I won a game I probably should have lost, so it evened out.
Yeah, I didn't even out for me, Babano, but happy you got the Seinfeld ending. Let's get to work here. 6:35 p.m. Eastern. We hit this MLB baseball card, and we have Durrell joining us after this for the breakdown of the Timberwolves Grizzlies. San Diego Padres, and Taint is in, by the way. Taint is in. We will get to that and pop it up. It is the Cardinals -1.5 at +120. And I've got Cardinals first 5 in full game, so that makes me feel good. Yes, Brian, that was a prison puck. But I was just in this defeatist mentality. I was like, of course it's going to blow up my face, and air after air. But Bruce Zimmerman's bet on. I love what he's doing. And Luchase Fox is already on the Taint. And spreadsheet is this Cardinal spreadsheet? No, the spreadsheet play of the day is Oakland. That's the play of the day. It might be a spreadsheet play, but not the play of the day, which is what we track here. At this point, unless I missed that. But let's keep rolling right now. We start Padres, Pittsburgh Pirates. Padres 13-7, 7-3 on the road. Pirates 8-11, 4-5 at home. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have Darvish going up against Zach Thompson. Darvish 1-1, 4.43 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, 20 in the third, 20 Ks, 9 walks, 2 homers. Babano looks like he'll be back here with us shortly. In his last start, he went 6 innings. He allowed 1 hit, no earned runs, 7 Ks, 3 walks in a 3-2 extra inning win at home over the Dodgers. Zach Thompson got absolutely destroyed in his last start, and he's been destroyed most of the season. 2 innings, 9 runs, just 4 of which were earned, 1 homer, 1 K, 2 walks, and 21-0 loss at the Cubs. Padres versus righties, 228, 674 OPS. Pirates versus righties, 226, 622 OPS. Both bullpens have been okay, not as good as we expected, and because bullpens around the league have been so spectacular, they're in the bottom third of the league. Padres bullpen 4.16 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. Pirates bullpen 4.12 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. Let's start with the weather and the look in Pittsburgh. It's 63 Fahrenheit first pitch, 4.8 miles an hour across left to right. In the last hour of the game, it does come in a little bit, but just at 4.3 miles an hour, so nothing too worrisome. We go over to the line history of this game. We have a slight move towards the Padres, and big bets have come in on the Pirates. And it threw me for a loop. Just from the eye test, you'd be like, well, you got to back Darvish here. You got to back the Padres here. But the market didn't agree. It opened at -160. within an hour and a half, minus 165. An hour and a half after that, minus 170. Then around midnight, minus 175. Then 7:54 in the morning, minus 180. 10:06, minus 185. And then at 11 a.m., it moved 10 cents back towards the Pirates. So from the opening, it's just 15 cents. And then you want to look, well, is there big bets coming in on the Pirates? And they're not really. Okay, yes, sorry, there are. Sorry, I was looking at spread, just not money line. 9% of the tickets are on the Pirates, but 36% of the cash. 63% of tickets on the over, 73% cash on the over. So I was going to move on the Padres, and then I thought, you know what? Still trust yourself and move on the Padres, but I only did it first 5 minus a half. But even then I stopped. I was like, minus 120. Why would it be just minus 120 in a spot that first 5 minus half you would think would be minus 140 or minus 145? It truly threw me for a loop to see this money coming in on the Pirates. Take it away, Babano. Padres, Pirates.
Yeah, the Padres team total over is kind of what I would look at, Hugh, here in this one, or the full game over. But I don't know what the Pirates are going to do, even against you, Darvish, who I have my concerns about. But I'm going to lock that in with the Padres team total over 4.5, because it is, I think, a slight plus price right now. I think they'll hit Thompson. I just don't think Thompson's got very good. I think we've seen enough to know. It's plus 110, by the way, over 4.5 for the Padres team total. I'll go with that. Okay. I think the Padres right now are going to find a way to score some runs here. Look, they pummeled Cincinnati pitching over the 3-game series there, 9, 8, and 7 runs. Now, that's going to level off a little bit, but when you're facing a guy that's struggling like Thompson, I don't think that tonight will be that night. I think you can see them get to 5 runs here. It's really a matter of what do the Pirates do against Darvish. I've not been overly impressed with Darvish. He's more of a bet against pitcher for me. He was certainly last year. Things kind of fell apart for him. He had that brutal start against the Giants on April the 12th. To be honest, other than that, he shut out Arizona. He held the Padres to 1 run. He had, 1 hit and shut out the Padres again. The Dodgers, I should say. The Dodgers, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks. He pitched well. He had the bad start against the Giants, Darvish. But I don't trust the Pirates lineup. I took Pittsburgh as a dog in a couple of those games against Milwaukee, and they just didn't get a big hit when they needed it. And I'm not trusting them to get a big hit tonight against Darvish. So for that reason, I'm going to put my faith in the Padres doing the offensive scoring tonight. So against a pitcher, I think they can hit. And a horrible Pirates bullpen. It goes without saying how bad they are in terms of the relief corps right now. So I'll go Padres over 4.5 team total plus 110.
Yeah, I guess the chat giving us Ronnie is the same way with me, says makes no sense money would be coming in on the Bucks. But Joshua Chipman says Padres are struggling offensively, but I got to fade Thompson.
Welcome back, Eric Hosmer for San Diego. He's had a terrific start to the season. The good thing he's been hitting.
Yeah, because there's not getting a lot of offense. Moose Money says Padres are being overpriced. We aren't that good right now. Offense is pretty bad. So
that's the beauty of a team total. You take the overpriced shit right out of the equation. That's why I love team totals. Yep.
Dabby Cab on the Padres first 5 minus half. He got 5 cents better than me. TJ on the Padres minus 1.5. Matty Ice says Hosmer player props. TJ wondering if it's because of travel. But I have moved on. And this goes against, it didn't all correlate because the big bets were on the Pirates. But I was like, you know what? I just have to take them first 5 minus a half. So I still did. So we'll see if that blows up in my face. Let's move on. 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Seattle Mariners, 11-8, 4-6 on the road to the Miami Marlins, 10-8, 4-3 at home. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. Matt Brash going up against Eliezer Hernandez. Brash, last start, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers, 4 walks, 2 Ks, and a 13-7 win at home versus the Royals. Brash, 4.20 ERA, 1.47 whip in 15 innings thus far. 13 Ks, but 11 walks. Eliezer Hernandez, 1-1, 5.87 ERA, 1.37 whip, 15 1/3, 15 Ks, 4 walks, 6 homers. I trust him, and maybe I shouldn't, but I do. And he's allowed 6 home runs already in 15 1/3, but I expect him to pitch well at home. Last start, he went 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 home runs, allowed 4 Ks, 0 walks, 9-7 win at Atlanta. Mariners aren't any righties, 233, 699 OPS. Marlins versus righties, 242, 716 OPS. Mariners bullpen, 2.94 ERA, 1.13 whip has been very good. So is the Marlins bullpen, 3.14 ERA, 1.14 whip. Let's take a look at the line history of this one. And there's been a 15-cent move to the Marlins, and that makes sense to me. I probably should have figured this out earlier. Plus 105 it opened. It's now at minus 110. When we look at the total here, opened up at 7.5 juice to the under. It's now 7.5 juice to the over at minus 120. And when we take a look at the cash in this Marlins Mariners spot, we have 5,863 tickets in. 69% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on the Mariners, and market moving towards the Marlins. Interesting. Books making it easier to back the Mariners, and the Mariners are getting the bets. 41% of tickets on the over, 55% cash on the over. So big bets have come in on the over, and it's moving towards the over. TJ says, I agree with the move on the Marlins. Got them plus 100 this morning and happy with it. Aroboros says, I want to bet the Mariners, but fish being decent. Take it away here, Babano, Mariners, Marlins.
Yeah, the Marlins they treated me well against Washington this week. I mean, I think I was on the Marlins in every game in that series, and definitely getting and some really good pitching performances. This team can pitch, and Hernandez is another one that can. Now, as he had some home run issues, the long ball has plagued him, yeah. But he's back at Marlins Park. He had by far his best start this year in his one home start against Philly, 1 run in 6 innings. He pitched very well. I think he'll pitch well here. These are 2 bet-on pitchers. I like Brash a lot for Seattle. When he is not losing the strike zone, which has been an issue, he's obviously had some walks. He's had some command and control issues. He's got good stuff. I mean, you definitely see it when you're watching him pitch. He's got good stuff. He just needs to harness the control, the command, limit the walks better than he's been doing right now. But you can clearly see he's got good stuff. I would rather not go against either of these guys. Brash is a bet-on pitcher for me. Miami's a bet-on team right now. They're playing well. A lot of their pitchers I would rather bet on, including Hernandez, especially when they pitch at home. These are all pitchers that we have seen. They pitched well here in Marlins Park for this team. So it's a pass for me with a lean maybe to the first 5 under in this game.
Yeah, I think I missed this because there's always value when you have a pitcher like Eliezer Hernandez, who you expect to pitch well in Lone Depot. And he's coming off a bad start at Atlanta and a tough start to the season. Luce says, hate trusting. Oh, Nestor Cortez, I believe he's speaking about. Richard says, Miami open line is a home dog, best value, cash action bets on Miami. And Keep in
mind, 2 horrible road starts, but again, I'll reiterate that 1 home start against Philly was a good one. 1 run in 6 innings for him.
Yeah, it's time to move on the Marlins, and the Marlins are hitting righties better than the Mariners are hitting righties, and the bullpens are awash, so no reason to not. I mean, if you fear Brash, maybe then you want to just take either a full game or a first 5 stance and not double up, which is probably what I'll do. I think I'm going to jump in on the Marlins here. It was a mistake to not be on them already. Let's move on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Boston Red Sox 8-12, 5-8 on the road at the Baltimore Orioles 6-13, 3-3 at home. We're in Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's start with the weather in Baltimore. We have 63 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 8.3 miles per hour in. Dies down a little bit, 4.7, 5.1 by the end of the game. Take a look at the line history here in this Orioles Red Sox spot. Boston opening up at minus 145, but no trust in Rich Hill, or as Jose calls him, Dick Mountain. There's been a big move, 20 cents towards the Baltimore Orioles. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 9, and 12 hours later, it moved to 8.5. Now, the 9 that it opened up with was juiced to the under. And let's see if the cash is on both the Orioles. And do I have the right pitcher? I hope I have the right pitcher. I do have Bradish from Norfolk. Sorry. Okay. Bradish is 8,309 tickets in. So the 2 teams with full line value, and there's only 2 teams with full, 2 teams with half, and then a couple slivers. So not many today. But the Orioles with Bradish and the Rangers with Garrett Richards, which is going to be a bullpen day. And I didn't realize that the Rangers had full line value, but I was nervous when I looked at the cash. But let's talk about this Orioles spot first. On the money line, 31% of the tickets are on the Orioles and 54% of the cash. Then 67% of the tickets on the over and 58% of the cash here. Rich Hill, 0-1, 4.85 ERA, 1.62 whip, 13 innings, 7 Ks, 6 walks, and 2 homers. His last start was pretty good at Tampa. 4 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 K, 3 walks, and a 5-2 loss. Bradish coming up from AAA Norfolk this year. He is 2-0 down there with a 1.20 ERA, 0.73 whip, 15 innings, 17 Ks, and 3 walks. He's a fourth-round pick out of New Mexico State. I don't have the year, but I believe it was 2018. Red Sox versus righties, 230, 618 OPS, and the Orioles versus lefties, just 219, 615 OPS. So neither team hitting the pitching hand that's coming at them. Red Sox bullpen 3.28 ERA, 1.16 whip. Orioles bullpen 3.80 ERA, 1.24 whip. Ronnie says, I'm fading Hill until further notice. Joshua Chipman says, Rich Hill going to get touched up tonight. Love the first 5 over. Matty Isto saying under, and J.A. saying over 8.5 is the play. So we're getting different stuff here. Rodney Barton looking at the first 5 over. Catch Action Bets looking at Baltimore. Let's bring the star of Say Hey Plays, Jose Bouquet, into the chat here for this spot. Would love to hear his thoughts on Dick Mountain and how he's handling his Boston Red Sox tonight. How are you, Jose?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. I'm actually doing.
Looks like it's real windy there where you're at.
I guess so. I don't know. It's my hair is getting translucent. I'm going to lose it eventually. So why not now? But I actually don't have anything on this game. The Red Sox offense has been shit, as we all know. Dick Mountain has not been good, but I don't think it's an indication that he's like a bad pitcher this year. I can pull up his last start, but I believe his last start was the Marathon Monday game he pitched. I bet on him. I thought he was going to have a good start coming off the death of his dad, who ran the marathon like 30 times. So it was a big emotional start for him. He comes out there, and they were kind of sitting on the curveball, so that didn't go well for him. And actually, he came back out versus the Tampa Bay Rays, a team that's very familiar with him, and he was great. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 1 K. You won't see Ks from Rich Hill, but if he's getting guys out in front on the curveball and all that good stuff, then that's what he did. So you can see the Minnesota start, maybe a heavy heart. They were also sitting on his curveball very, very evidently. The announcers were all saying it the whole time that they were just waiting to sit on the curveball, dip their shoulders, trying to jack one out of there. But ultimately, I'm going to stay off of this game. I want to see the Red Sox win. I would lean towards an under, but that might be because I've learned from Noli Knows, I guess. And this Baltimore ballpark, which the Red Sox have not played in yet, is obviously not the hitter-friendly ballpark that it used to be. So I would also lean under, but we don't know what the fuck we're getting from the Orioles side of the pitching staff here. My under lean for the Red Sox side of it would just be the Red Sox offense being horrific this year to start the year.
Well, it's really stormy where you're at, so find shelter as soon as you can.
Stay safe, Jose.
Stay safe.
Blow away on us.
And we will bring you back for the Say Hey Play today. Thank you for your. I'm really interested in what you thought of Dick Mountain in the spot. So his numbers aren't very good, but he's coming off a good start. And it takes a little while for the old noodle arm to get rolling. Babano, take it away. Red Sox Orioles.
Yeah, that's the thing. My initial thought was, man, got to look over the total, and I ended up passing because Rich Hill did have a good start against a solid Tampa. And the one thing about facing Tampa Bay and pitching well against them, they're a patient lineup. They usually give you good at bats. Quality ABs is the name of the game with the Tampa Bay Rays. So if you're holding them to 4 hits and you're shutting them out in 4 innings like Hill did, you got to give them credit for that. And now you're facing a Baltimore team that can't hit lefties very well. You mentioned the numbers; they're terrible against the southpaws so far this year. So this could set up to be another pretty solid start here for Rich Hill in this game. Bradish, I don't know as much what we're going to get from him, but I will say this: he's at least facing a lineup that kind of is struggling at the moment. Boston. I mean, they get shut down completely by Manoah and the Blue Jays yesterday. They had a little outburst against Ross Stripling, but again, Stripling's a fringe arm at best. I don't think that's anything to write home about. This has definitely been a struggling lineup. I mean, during this 1-5 slide that they've had in their last 6 games, they've been held to 2 runs or less in 4 of those 6 games. So it's a Boston lineup that inexplicably right now is having a hard time at the plate. So combine that with Hill having a better outing, Orioles not hitting lefties. I talked myself out of the over, and I am not betting this game. It does feel like a cheap price on Boston, though. I mean, are they really going to be this bad for a long period of time? I mean, we're only asking them to lay minus 125 or so against Baltimore. It does feel like value on Boston here in this game, but I'm going to stay away from it.
I wonder if that under is the right look. It's tricky when you trust a kid like Bradish, who's looked very good with Norfolk, but it's right. Matty Ice's idea that Red Sox versus righties and Orioles versus lefties. Also, both bullpens have been good, and for me, Babano, when I have a plan on a total and then I move to the other side, or I get off of that total, if I had to jump to the other side, my ROI would be excellent. But I don't. I just get off of it.
And by the way, 3-7 in the last 10 for Boston. They're having a tough time. I mean, they dug themselves a mini hole, or now it's a long season. I mean, you can't panic at 8-12. You just can't. Even in the AL East, when you see the Jays and the Yankees playing pretty well right now. But I want to say something about Boston.
I'm panicking.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Jose, about this 3-7 run in the last 10. 2 series against the Blue Jays and 1 against Tampa Bay. That's pretty tough. That's a pretty hard schedule there. And now you're finally taking that step down in class against Baltimore. See, now I'm kind of talking myself into Boston here. I think the price is dirt cheap on them. I really do. But I'm not going to make it official.
Interesting. Dommy Gunn saying, in my opinion, I'm ready to throw it the first week to 10 days. I think the short spring made an impact early. Now we will start seeing who's legit this first half. Okay. I think I'm interested in this under, but it's gone from 8.5. I've already missed it. How long was it? Was there for 12 hours, so I could have figured this out. And it didn't move until 11:19 a.m. You know what? I can't do it. Should have figured that out when I was punching it in. I guess I'll just leave it as a lean to the under. Okay, let's keep rolling. Next up, we have a move I did make. I am fading Kikuchi, and it's very dangerous to fade this Toronto Blue Jays team. So I'm going to cut it down to 5 innings and trust Urquidy. And he's not looked very good this year, but his last start at home versus Toronto was good. And I know the Astros are hitting 181, 572 OPS versus lefties. I don't think that will continue. Maybe they don't rip the leather off the ball, but Kikuchi struggles with this. And there's times when he's lights out against the Astros and it blows our mind, but he also gets touched often by them. They've seen him a lot. Dabby Cab says Astros are so bad at hitting. There's Trotwam in the house. Nasty Nate, Joey Harb. Ron Crawford said spreadsheet does have Boston. So you guys, just so you guys know, spreadsheet does have Boston. So Urquidy, 1-1, 5.52 ERA, 1.36 WHIP, and 14 2/3, 7 Ks, 2 walks, and 3 homers. In his last start, he went 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, and a 3-2 loss at home. Versus Toronto, Kikuchi only lasted 3 2/3 against the Astros last out. 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 of which were earned, a homer, 4 Ks, and 5 walks. The Blue Jays versus righties, look at this number. It's just going down every day. Every time we're here, I give you the Blue Jays stats versus righties, and it's going down. They now have a 708 OPS versus the righties, 244 average, 708 OPS. Astros bullpen has a 3 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Blue Jays bullpen's been quite good, 3.46 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. Vipers on Toronto money line. I hate Kikuchi, but Astros trash versus lefties. So far this year, they are. Will that continue? I'm not sure. I got minus 105 on Urquidy first 5. There's been a 5-cent move towards the Astros. They opened up at plus 100. They're now minus 105. That move came at 10:52 a.m. This total opened up at 8.5, slightly juiced to the under. It's now a pick'em at 8.5. It's a pick'em. I guess I have interest in the first 5 over as well. Let's see what Babano has to say here. Astros, Blue Jays.
Over 8.5, minus 114 for me. That'll be official. I don't trust Kikuchi like you, especially in this ballpark. He's given up some hard contact. I don't like that. That doesn't play well at Rogers Center. That concerns me a little bit. Now, I did say coming into the year in our preview show, which we did down in San Antonio, especially the AL East one with Jose, and I think I did something with you, Jimmy, as well, talking about the AL East and the Blue Jays, that I thought Kikuchi was crafty enough he could handle the situation of pitching in these AL East parks. But no, he's struggled so far this year. So he hasn't given me a whole lot of confidence just yet. Now, last start against Houston was a little better. But boy, he was walking a tightrope throughout that game. There were ducks on a pond every inning, it felt like, for the Astros there. And now this is the second look that they're going to get against Kikuchi here in this game. After getting 4 runs, 3.2 innings, 5 walks. Command and control has been terrible lately for Kikuchi, these 3 starts this year. I think you're going to see him probably struggle here. Urquidy, I don't really trust him a whole lot. Now, he was great his last start, but, away from home, the one start or the couple starts he's made away from home, he's labored, especially the Seattle game, 6 runs, 8 hits. And I know he pitched all right last weekend in Houston against the Jays, 2 runs, 5.2 innings, but this is a great Jays lineup. Second chance, second look in less than a week against this guy. I like those kind of situations for the lineup. When they kind of struggle the first time against him, they get to see the same pitcher in a week, and I think they make the adjustments. They're better at the plate. They know what's coming, and you're going to see a better Jays approach offensively. So, look, I know the Astros haven't been hitting lefties, but come on, this team was smashing lefties last year, and this is very much similar lineup. Altuve and Yuli Gurriel and freaking Maldonado and Bregman and Brantley. I mean, these are all the same cast of characters that last year they were mauling left-handed pitchers. Now, all of a sudden, they can't hit lefties. I don't buy it. I think it's going to turn at some point. I think it starts to turn for them tonight, and I think the Jays do some damage too. So over the total.
I like it. I'm gonna take the first 5 over and move on that. But I like your breakdown. Babano's on the over 8.5 minus 114. I'm already on the Astros first 5 minus 105, and I will be adding to it. It's a good thing that Nasty Nate says Kraken for breakfast stole a lot of my memories in San Antonio. Oh, that gets me. That's the first time I've laughed. Oh, it feels good. Thank you, Nate. It's been a tough 15 or 16 hours for me. And it's a good thing that I didn't start hammering the Kraken. I came very close. Very, very, very close. Okay, but I will be hitting the Kraken tonight on Cash It Fridays. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to hold off until Cash It Fridays starts, and we're going to hit a Lone Star. All right, let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. LA Angels 13-7, 5-2 on the road at the Chicago White Sox, 7-11, 5-4 at home. We're at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's see what the weather is. Kraken stole the memories. It's too funny. Okay, let's go. Sorry, here we go. Angels, White Sox weather report. First pitch 56 Fahrenheit, 8.5 miles per hour, sideways, slightly in, but in it by the third hour or after 2 hours, it's pretty much left to right with no in. That is in Chicago. Let's look at the line history in this spot. The Angels open up at plus 105. There was a 5-cent move at 10 in the morning of the White Sox, but it's come back. So no movement from the opening line. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 7, slightly juiced to the over. The first move came in on the under, and it came last night. And then just 15 minutes ago, it's now on the over minus 120. Luchace Fox says the White Sox are frauds. Trotwam says no run first inning. Angels meet my criteria. Dabby Cab's already on the Angels first 5 money line at plus 108. Dabby, an ex-pitcher himself, was saying what you're seeing from Syndergaard is real and will continue. Luchace Fox also on the no-run first inning. Oh, by the way, for those of you guys who are on the thinking about the over, I popped the chats in the Astros game. I popped them on the screen, but TJ saying Coochie's swinging strike rate, big drop. Same with Urquidy, hard hit up 2, and he's adding the over. And then Luchace Fox says dangerous to back the Ass Pros, and he says they will hit better tonight. I think Kikuchi is a fraud and always has been, and even though he has shut down the Astros before, those days are over. Stros go yard 3 times today, so a lot of backing the Astros and the over in that spot. But back to this Angels White Sox spot. Syndergaard coming off 5-4 loss at home to the Orioles. He went 5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks. Wasn't an excellent start, but he's been great so far this year. 17 innings with a 2.12 ERA, 0.82 WHIP, 11 Ks, 4 walks. Going up against Giolito, 1.13 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, 8 innings, 15 Ks in 8 innings. He only went 4 innings in the next inning loss last out, but 9 Ks and 3 walks in those 4 innings. The White Sox are struggling badly versus righties, 200, 569 OPS, and it's getting worse. And the Angels are smashing righties and lefties. Against righties, 244, 769 OPS. The bullpen has not looked very good, 4.11 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. White Sox bullpen hasn't looked great either, 3.81 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. And if we look at the cash flow in this spot, 9,621 tickets in. There is line value. So I gave you guys the full line value, that was on the Orioles and the Rangers. Half line value, and these are the only 2 other spots that we'll talk about, is with the White Sox and Giolito and Tyler Alexander and the Detroit Tigers. 9,621 tickets in, 62% of tickets, 74% of cash on the Angels. 56% tickets, 68% cash on the under. Take it away here, Babano, Angels, White Sox.
Yeah, I don't have anything here really. I mean, Giolito's the one guy you'd want though in a stop the bleeding type of spot though, right? I mean, he's had a very good season so far. It's unfortunate. Hard to believe the White Sox are 0-3 in his starts with the way he's pitched. He's given up just 5 runs in 12.1 innings this year for the White Sox, 1.13 ERA. He's been Giolito. He's been good. This is the guy you want on the mound, but the White Sox just have all kinds of issues. Obviously, they're a banged-up team. They're struggling to hit at the plate right now. Even their bullpen, man, it's been disappointing at times this year. They lose 5-2. They lose 2 or 3 to Kansas City at home. They get swept by the Twins, swept by the Cleveland Guardians. I mean, it's just been a dreadful run. And then I mentioned it, Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert. I mean, it goes on and on. Josh Harrison, all the key bats that are out of this lineup right now for the White Sox. But this is a White Sox. This kind of is a spot for them to step up. It's their best pitcher, arguably. It feels like they could find a way, and they're favored despite the record and despite the Angels having a strong start. But Syndergaard's been good too. So I don't want to step in front of him. It's a pass for me with just maybe I'd look under first 5, but you're not getting a great number there. It's pretty tight.
Fat betting no run first inning. Pimp slap play of the day is the Angels money line. I guess the offense, but Giolito's such a beast. Let's see what the big bats do against Giolito. Shohei hitting 286 and 14 at bats with a homer. Trout hitting 200, but just 5 at bats with a homer. Walsh 250 and 4 at bats with a homer. Raven in the desert, liking runs, hits, airs under 23.5. Dommy Gunn says, love Thor, always have. His ball's been moving. He's tough for a team to get right. With Thor's only issue is can he last a full season? There's Dave Burke in the house. Great to see you, Berkey. Rance thinking about the first 5 under. So am I thinking about that first 5 under. What's that? It's cold in Chicago. I think I may move on this first 5 under 3.5 in Angels, White Sox, but I'm going to put a question mark beside it. 5 under 3.5. We do have studs on the mound. Luchace Fox loving that under with runs, hits, and airs, and loving the no-run first inning. And Dave Burke says, I need to learn unit management. I went balls deep on the Dodgers on Wednesday, and now my bag is shriveled up. Joshua Chipman says Chicago White Sox infield is a joke, frustrating to back them. All right, let's move on to the next spot. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The Minnesota Twins 11-8, 3-4 on the road at the Tampa Bay Rays. 11-8, 8-5 at home. Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Dylan Bundy looking good to start the year. 3-0, 0.59 ERA, 0.72 WHIP. Now it's only been 15 in the third, but 12 Ks, 1 walk, no home runs allowed. His last start was at home against the meek-hitting White Sox, and he shut them down. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 Ks, 0 walks, no earned runs. Going up against Corey Kluber, who's not the Corey Kluber of old. 0-1, 3.68 ERA, 1.57 WHIP, 14 2/3, 12 Ks, 5 walks, 2 homers. In his last start, he went 5 innings, allowed 11 hits. 4 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 1 walk, and a 4-3 loss at home versus the Red Sox. And that was last Friday, and we cashed the under. And it was fortunate, very fortunate that we did. We cashed the under 8.5. The Red Sox had the bases loaded. Was it the Red? I think it was the Red Sox with the bases loaded at the end of the game. Oh no, it was the other way around. The Rays had the bases loaded, and Wander was up, and 2 out. Matt Barnes got him out. Twins versus righties, 224, 686 OPS. Rays versus righties, 236, 684 OPS. Twins bullpen, 3.94 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Rays bullpen, 2.83 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. Bruce Hayward says, can't fade Dylan Bundy right now. Teacher says, remember when Bundy made us think he was good when he joined the Angels? I think he does this for the first few starts, then comes back to earth. So let's take a look at the line history in St. Petersburg for this one and where the cash lies. The Rays open up at minus 125, a 5-cent move towards them at minus 130. We should also probably take a look at the batter versus pitcher because we know that there's a lot of history with Bundy starting his career in the AL East. In this spot, we have 6,733 tickets in. 58% of the tickets, 73% of the cash on Tampa, expecting Bundy's glory to stop. 34% of tickets, 47% of cash on the over. So expecting both pitchers to get touched. And then let's just go to this history against the opponent here quickly and see what we are dealing with. We have against Bundy, Kiermaier hitting .333, another AL East issue. G-Man Choi, 286. Brett Phillips, 375. And that's it. Those are the only guys who've seen him. Wander hasn't seen him. And then against Kluber, I don't think we need to dive into the numbers against Kluber because obviously they're going to be bad. And Kluber's not who he once was. Richie Rich says, I'll fade Bundy. We all know who he is. Let's see what Bono has to say. Twins race.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Bundy against the Rays. More bad than good. 10 runs in the last 6 innings that he's worked against them. Now, that was 3 years ago with Baltimore against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay's got a totally different group of hitters now. So he hasn't faced them in 3 years. So you really don't have a whole lot of data with the current edition of the Tampa Bay Rays against Dylan Bundy. But I know long-term, going back to 2017, he's been smacked around by the Rays. Most of the starts have gone over the total with Bundy against the Rays. But Bundy's been lights out this year. This is a shocking start. 3-0 he is, 0.59 ERA, 0.72 whip. Everything looks great. I mean, 1 walk to 12 strikeouts, in 15 innings so far this year. I mean, everything looks great. He does look terrific. Now, it's difficult to buy in completely because, sometimes he does this and then the roof caves in on him later this year. So it's not easy. I lean over at 7.5 because I don't trust Kluber. I know that much. You look at his starts so far. Okay, he shut down Baltimore in his first start, but he's not pitching deep either. 4.2, 5 and 5 innings. He labored against the White Sox, 2 runs, 5 innings, then got crushed by Boston, 4 runs, 11 hits, 5 innings in his last start that he made. It's a low number at 7.5. And look, the Twins, you look at what they've done, they're starting to hit, 5-6 game win streak. And against Chicago, the last 2 games, they scored 15 in the 2 games that they won against Detroit, swept those 2 games, 12 runs for this Twins team. So, you look at, I would only look Twins. I mean, Twins at an underdog price. Bundy's been good. They're on a win streak, but I don't know. I just get that sense. I know the moment I bet Bundy and I bet the Twins tonight, watch him give up 6 or something like that. It's that feeling in the back of my mind that could happen. So I'm going to go over 7.5 though. I will go with that. I think there is some regression coming for Dylan Bundy. He's not going to do this every single start. There's just no way that's going to happen. So I'm going to look over 7.5 here with the Twins and the Rays. It's a manageable total, -120.
And TJ's absolutely right. The 7-game winning streak and switching cities is in effect here. And we know that the ROI of fading that is enormously high. It's supposedly, some cappers say it's the best bet, the best angle in all of sports.
I remember
betting.
Cleveland was like that. And then they got clobbered on the road, it was. I'm trying to remember who they played. They were on a win streak. They had a great run at home. They went on the road, Jimmy. The first game they lost. I remember that.
Wow. And you're absolutely right. Thank you for mentioning that. I didn't even realize that they'd gone to 7. So you're over 7.5 at -120?
Yep.
Wow. I think this has become a must bet for the race. I think it has. And then we have, let's just go over who the Bundy's faced so far this season. Has he played any of his old AL East foes, or has he been going against, let me just go up here with Bundy's last few games, or
By the way, it's important sometimes. I always say in baseball, not so much now, we're still in the first month, but especially, Jimmy, when we get into June and July, short-term numbers, current form. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know the full season numbers, especially when we get later in the year. Now, you'll see for the full year, Minnesota 222 average, 3.79 against righties coming into this game. But the last 5 games, 277 average, 5.4 runs per game against righties. Last 10 games, 252 batting average, 4.14 runs per game against righties. So, yeah, the full season numbers for the Twins offense against right-handed pitchers isn't great. But, boy, the last 5-10 games, they've been a whole lot better, and it's coincided with the win streak.
I told myself last year when we watched it cash that I would start making these moves. And so I'm going to take the Rays -1 and bank on this trend of teams on 7-game winning streaks or more in NBA, MLB, or NHL doing the city switch, especially MLB though. It's supposedly the highest ROIs in MLB. Okay, so I'm in. I'm in. Thank you for mentioning that. TJ, I am in. We move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies 10-10, 2-5 on the road at the New York Mets, 14-6, 5-2 at home. Look at that sparkling record for the Metropolitans. We're in Citi Field, Queens, New York. Let's start with the weather in New York City. We have 59 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 11.8 miles per hour in. It dies down though. It dies down about 5 miles. Within the first hour, but it goes up then 1 hour or 1 mile. So it closes the game around 8 miles per hour in. And it's chilly. We're going to go to the line history next in this spot. Sorry, let me just grab this. In New York. Where is it? Here we go. The Phillies open up as minus 105. So the Mets open up minus 115 favorites. There's been a 5-cent move towards the Mets. They're now minus 120. When we go to the total, it just keeps dropping. It opens up at 7.5. Within an hour and 15 minutes, it's at 7. And then at 8:40 this morning, it drops to 6.5. So we expect lots of money on this under. Let's see if that's what we're getting. No, it's a coin flip. 50-50 with the tickets, 52% to the over. So maybe cappers were waiting until it got to 6.5 and then going over it with this Nola Migo setup. We have 76% of the ticket of the cash, 76% of money line tickets on the Mets, and 80% of the cash. Yet it's only moved 5 cents. Nola coming off a nice start at home against the light hitting Brewers. 7 innings, 1 hit, no one runs, 9 Ks, 1 walk in a 1-0 loss. 1-2, 3.74 ERA, 0.88 whip on the year, 25 Ks to 5 walks and 21 2/3, but they've gone deep on them 4 times in those 21 2/3 innings. Migo looks really good. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 7 Ks, 1 walk, and a 6-2 win at Arizona. He's got a 0.91 whip in 23 innings. Look at that K to walk ratio, 22-3 and 2 homers. Phillies versus righties, 255, 720 OPS. Mets versus righties, 266, 759 OPS. Phillies bullpen does not look good. 4.17 ERA, 1.28 whip. Mets bullpen, 3.34 ERA, 1.24 whip. Let's go over to and this is the spot. Sorry, this is the spot for the Say Hey play of the day. So let's welcome our guy Jose Bouquet back in action. Jose, how are you? Oh, there you are. Looks like the wind has died down a little bit there in your room. Phillies, Mets, Jose. First, what is your record at right now? Who is your guest on the big show today? And then what is the Say Hey play today?
Well, of course, the record for the season, 86-69 plus 22 units. And sorry if I'm a little choppy today. My computer's working extra hard because I'm making graphics in the background right now as well. 86-69 plus 22 units. Yesterday, a measly 2-3 day, but we hit the play while we were on here, so that made me feel a little better about my day. I actually have a lot of plays out today too, and features that I like betting on or against today. You've talked about my guy bet on Brash. You guys have slandered one of my guys, and you guys are fading him today, and I don't appreciate it. But this is a spot with one of my guys here, Miguel. He's been a stud. I've bet on him basically every start this year, and for the most part, it's been successful. He has been, I would say, he's been the talk of the development town. You know, everyone that likes talking about pitching likes talking about how well he's done this year and all this good stuff. And I think it'll continue today. I'm on the Mets full game money line here. I got it at, I think it was a minus 115 when I got it at. It's at a minus like 122 now. I believe in Miguel, and I'll talk about Aaron Nola here. And it's a similar situation to Wheeler. I do not want to bet on either one of these Phillies aces when they are on the road. Aaron Nola on the road has a 4.27 ERA. Opponents are hitting 250, 245, if we're going to be exact, off of him. At home, he has a 3.14 ERA. He's had 4 starts this year, and Ian's right, by the way. We're officially at the point of the year where we can start cutting off like the first week of stats. I've started, I think it's the 17th through the 29th now, or where all my WOBA and splits are all coming from now. But Nola, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit ball against the Brewers, against them at home, 9 Ks. And by the way, Dabby Cab is on the show. I forgot to mention that this weekend, or I should say today. So shout out to Dabby Cab. But I'm on. Basically, what I'm saying is Mets money line for me. I don't believe in Nola on the road. I don't want to bet him on the road. He's coming off a great start, which makes me feel a little better about betting against him. Like Dami said here, I'm also on the team total over 3.5. I believe that's at even money I got it at. I don't know what it's at now. I'll double check after I'm done here. Mets second in weighted runs created plus against righties, 122. The Phillies, of course, are great of themselves, 118. They're fifth. So a little trepidation taking the Mets if you're scared about that for that side, but I do like the over 3.5 team total as well. Both of those were official for me.
I can get you the Mets at minus 113. I'll see what I can get for a team total over. Stick around right now while we hear Babano's breakdown and how Babano's betting this one. Phillies, Mets. Ian, take it away.
Very similar, except I'm doing a split with the first 5 in the full game, which I often do. And the Mets bullpen's been not bad, but it's also been susceptible at times as well. So I'm going to split it up with the Mets here. First 5, which is minus, let me just see here. First 5 is minus 115. And then the full game, which is minus 118.
I can get that at circa minus 107. So let's
for
do
the
that.
First 5? Okay.
First 5 minus 107 and full game minus 113. So
All
let's
right.
lock those numbers, but take it away. Keep going.
Yeah, we'll take that. I like Miguel as well, especially at home. And look, Nola, a career ERA on the road, 1 run higher than at home. I mean, 3.1 at home, 4.2 on the road. Look, I know he had a decent. He's only had 1 road start this year against Colorado, and he didn't pitch that bad. 2 runs, 6 hits, 5.1 innings in that start. But boy, I need a much greater sample size than that for a guy that's pitching to a career 4.2 on the road. So I think that's an issue. Obviously, the Mets are very familiar with Nola. They've seen him now for many starts here within the division. We'll see how he fares here. But Nola, by the way, going back to 2020. In the last 8 starts, the Philadelphia Phillies are only 3-5, in his last 8 starts going back to the start of 2020. So you're talking about 3-5 in those 8 starts. You're talking about a Mets team that's had the day off yesterday. Carrasco got absolutely crushed by the St. Louis Cardinals Wednesday. Bad loss for the Mets there. A day off, chance to recalibrate, come back, a fresh bullpen. All the key arms will be rested, ready to go because they didn't play yesterday. Back home. Good spot, too. It's a good situational bet, too, for the Mets. Not to mention, I have a little more confidence in McGill than Nola on the road here. So, for me, Mets first 5 full game split.
I'm sold. I love the breakdown. I'm going to just take the Mets full game with the bullpen advantage and the situational starting pitching advantage. Maybe some will say that Miguel's better right now than Nola, but certainly situationally with Nola on the road. And then that team total over 3.5. It's minus 103 at circa, Jose. So you're getting almost no vig.
On Bovada, I'm going to bet it again right now on Bovada because it's at plus 110 on Bovada.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, okay, I'm pretty shocked looking at it. Over 3.5 plus 110 on Bovada. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe the market's moving towards the under here because they think Aaron Nola is he's I guess that ace of the staff. Traditionally, him and Wheeler are both really good. They've been fighting it out, but if you ask Phillies fans, Nola's been there longer, whatever. But I think that's kind of like a name value thing, Jimmy. We've talked about line movement with baseball a couple of times. There are times where I bet with it. I've mentioned it with the Angels, Michael Lorenzen, that start. And there's times where I faded it and it's not worked, or it's not like worked out for the people that are going with it. Otani, all that good stuff. So I'm still taking the if I would lean towards the an over or under here, I would lean towards the over, honestly, because I think that the Mets will have a lot of success on Nola. I could easily see Nola giving up like a 5 spots, for example. And a great part about these two pitchers is that we've already seen these guys go against each other. Nola at his home ballpark, where we all think he's better, 3 1/3, 3 hits, 3 earned runs off a home run, 3 walks, 5 Ks versus the Mets. And Miguel at the Phillies, where traditionally he's a better pitcher on the road, but I think you can throw out his career stats for this year because he's completely changed, better pitcher. 5 innings pitched or 5 1/3, 3 hits, 5 Ks, no earned runs, no walks. So I just, and the money's come in on the Mets too, obviously. So that makes me feel a little better, but I don't know why the total, the team total order went from even to plus 110. I think that's a little weird, but I just bet it again as well on the plus 110. So as you can tell, I like it.
I love it. Great breakdown from both of you guys. Dabby Cab on today's Say Hey Play, and give us that glorious record one more time, Jose.
It is 86 and 69. Very nice. Plus 22.76 units.
Wow. Yep.
So, it's successful. Keep on watching Say Hey Plays, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. And remember, we don't do West Coast time because I don't like math.
Keep up the good work, Jose. Excellent work. All right, we move on to Atlanta Braves at Texas Rangers, Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. I'm an Ian Anderson fan. I wanted to back him here, and his poor start isn't what slowed me down. It was the clear money and money on the Rangers. And I already told you that Sports Insights has the full line value, complete full line value on 2 spots on today's card. And one of them is the Texas Rangers. And that just made me pause. Not saying that I won't bet it, but I do want to talk it out with everybody. Cindy plays horses in the house. Big week next week, Cindy. I'm pumped. Hopefully you'll be on Cash It Fridays, Razor Sharp Picks, Cash It Fridays with us today. Let's get to work here. Ian Anderson going up against Garrett Richards. Ian Anderson 1-1, 5.40 ERA, 1.50 WHIP, 13 1/3, 12 Ks, 9 walks already this year, and he's allowed 2 homers in 13 1/3. His last start, 9-7 loss at home versus Miami, and he looked decent. He looked good. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, and 3 walks. Going up against Garrett Richards, who's looked very good out of the bullpen thus far. He's had 1 start out of the bullpen, and overall this year, 8 innings, 7 Ks, 5 walks, but 2.25 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, has allowed just 1 home run. The Rangers aren't hitting righties. I mean, you want to fade the Rangers. There's righties, 208, 570 OPS. And the Braves, there's righties, 227, 696 OPS. Real Deal Prime says, Richards, can he? Look, I think it was just a vividness bias. And that was why I initially was going to bet the Braves, just because I think Garrett Richards doesn't have it. But maybe getting him in to the bullpen and keeping him to 1 and 2 innings is working. Both bullpens have struggled thus far this year. Braves bullpen 3.89 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Rangers bullpen 4.21 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. I know we don't like to talk about I don't like to talk about what happened yesterday because there's a belief that maybe it has no effect on what happens today. But the Braves did travel to Texas while Texas has been resting at home. And that did sort of play into me staying off. So let's take a look at the line history and where the cash is and then hand it over to Babano. We have minus 145 opener and plus 125 for Texas, a 20-cent move to the Texas Rangers. Opening up at plus 125, now at plus 105. And then when we go into the cash flow here, we have, here we go. Sorry. We have the 4,728 tickets in. 30% of the tickets are on Texas, but 67% of the cash. 64% tickets on the under, 59% cash on the under has led me to pause, pump the brakes, and drive slow, homie. Take it away, Babano. Braves Rangers.
I want to take the over here. I don't trust either pitcher. I don't trust Garrett Richards. Hell no. I mean, I don't buy into this 2.25 ERA crap that he's got here so far in the first month of the season. That's not going to last. It's just a question of when does he finally have that downturn and that downfall, if you will. And to be honest, Ian Anderson's kind of a go-against pitcher for me right now. A guy that he's got to hit his spots to get by. And right now he's kind of struggling with that. He's labored in 2 of the 3 starts. He got crushed by Cincy in his first start. He was better against the Padres, but then, kind of reverted back to, struggling, grinding through 93 pitches, 3 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, a home run allowed against Miami in his last start. So, I'd want to take the over with these 2 pitchers, but it's 9. It's not like Atlanta's crushing the ball right now. Texas certainly is not hitting the ball right now at the moment either. So it's a lean, but I'm going to stay off.
Stay off spot there. It all makes sense. What TJ's saying is Richards and then Spencer Howard. He says, my best bet today is Atlanta, in his opinion. And Domigan says, I like the Braves, but the World Series hangover is real. It does take a few weeks to get it together. CT Bay saying Anderson got to get those walks down. And Dabby Cap says Rangers pitchers have gotten comfortable pitching against the A's and Astros. Let's see what happens today against a team that can actually hit. Raven in the Desert agreeing with the over, but Lucha's Fox on the under with Eric Jones. I can't do it. We'll see what happens. You know, maybe I should judge it by the Padres game. We've seen what happened in the big bets are coming in for some reason on Zach Thompson, and because of that, I went against it. This is the first time I've gone against it since I made the switch, a week and a half ago, from needing everything to correlate before I pulled the trigger. And since I've done that, I'm still up 5.5 units. That hasn't changed. I'm up 5.5 units since I did the switch. So I think I should stay off of it. But if the Padres easily cash the first 5 on it, I'll say no, trust yourself and trust the cappers in the chat, and I'll move on the Braves. So there we have it. No move for either Babano or I at this point. And then we come to a very similar situation here with Cubs, Milwaukee Brewers. You have Kyle Hendricks on the road, a place where he's not been very good. And you have Adrian Hauser at home, a spot where you can trust him coming off a game against the Phillies, who we know can rake. He goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, 1 walk, a quality start. The Cubs are destroying righties right now, but you can expect the Brewers to be a little stronger against righties. 218, 626 OPS, and I expect those numbers to. You can imagine that the Cubs will have negative regression, the Brewers will have positive regression. Cubs bullpen 2.79 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. Brewers bullpen 3.89 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. We're at American Family Field, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hendricks' last start was beautiful, but it was at home versus the Pirates. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 Ks in that 21-0 win. So let's look at the line history and the where the cash lies, and then move on to Babano and see his take on the game. Cubs, Brewers, this opened up at plus 120, and the first move was towards the Brewers at 7:54 this morning. So when I first was thinking about betting this, there had been no move. Now it's come back. 10 cents has come back on the Cubs. So it's just where it started. This total opened up at 8. It's now at 7.5. And when we go over to where the action or where the cash is in this spot, we have 6,292 tickets in, 72% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Brewers, 55% of tickets, 72% cash on the under. So that's changed. This has changed since I looked at it at 6 in the morning. So take it away, Babano. Cubbies, Brewers.
Yeah, this is, I would lean Milwaukee. I actually going to make it official. Milwaukee, first 5 full game split money line here against Hendricks. 3 great starts in Chicago. 1 terrible start, though, on the road against Pittsburgh, who just can't hit consistently. Gave up 6 runs, 3.2 innings. And that's kind of been Kyle Hendricks. Capable pitcher at Wrigley. Get him on the road, you can do damage. And I kind of think Milwaukee could do that. Now, Milwaukee's overcome a bit of a shaky start. They're starting to play some really good baseball at the moment. Now, a lot of it's schedule related too. They played Pittsburgh and swept them. Bad team, I get it. But, it took 2 or 3 from Philly. Swept Pittsburgh, of course, at home the week before. So I get it. The schedule's been pretty light. You feasted on Pittsburgh in 2 series. But you did take 2 or 3 from Philly, in Philly. So you're doing something right at this point in time. The Cubs, again, Hendricks on the road. I don't trust him. Hauser, when you look at his numbers, he's not one of the best pitchers for the Brewers, but he's capable. I think against the Cubs lineup here, he can hold them in check, and I think we'll see that here in this one. So I like this one for Milwaukee a little bit here. First 5 and full game split. First 5, by the way, is minus 135. I see at DraftKings, and the full game is -1, also -1, actually -134 at Heritage. So right around the same price for both.
Yeah, and -134 also at Pinnacle right now for the first 5. So we'll give you both of those. So TJ says he doesn't trust Hauser here either, which I can understand. I think this is a Brewer spot. Why don't we go over to batter versus pitcher in this one? So help us make this decision here. Sorry, go. Oh, there we go. And here we go. Okay, so against Hendricks, Colton. Well, who's the expected lineup before I start saying what some of these guys who may not even be in the lineup? The leadoff hitter Colton Wong rakes 354 on 48 at bats. Now just one homer, but 354. Adames batting second, just 111, so 1 for 9 against them. Yelich batting third, 225 batting average in 40 at bats. It's not good. McCutcheon 242 and 33 at bats. Rocky Rowdy Tellez 253, so 1 for 4 against them. Hunter Renfroe. What's Hunter doing here? Renfroe 400, so 4 for 10. I like it. I think this makes sense to me to back the Brewers now the market's moved. I'm surprised the line hasn't moved over there, but I like it. TJ said no surprise for Hendricks. Always good at home, worse on the road. Dommy says Brewers, who I'm not a fan of, are tough at home. The pitching staff's on point. They seem to always score 4 or 5. Can the Cubs score 6 to win? I'm going to come in with you here, but I'm going to need to figure out how to get the juice down. So maybe it's a minus a half first 5 and a -1 full game. But I'm going to put the asterisk beside it, and I will be coming with you with Hauser and expecting some struggles for Hendricks on the road. And if that's the case, what was the total? What did the total done here cash wise? So the bigger bets are on the under. So I would say that maybe Hauser's going to have a good start here, and that's what I will plan for. And I guess we didn't even discuss Hauser against these guys because Happ hitting 375 against them, Hayward hitting 333, old Frankie Schwindel hitting 667. So they have pretty good numbers against them. Is that cause for pause? Wilson only hitting 167. I think I'm going to move on it. But I will add 2 question marks, so I look in a little deeper. All right, let's move on at 8:10 p.m. This was a double-up spot for me. I doubled up on the Yankees, and it was sort of going against the market here. But at this point, the Royals are a decent baseball team that's going to keep coming at you. But you have such a big advantage with the bullpen. Yankees bullpen 2.90 ERA, 1.26. Royals bullpen 4.28 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. You have such a big advantage against lefties. Yankees hitting 237, 758 OPS against lefties. Royals hitting 184 with a 542 OPS against lefties. I think that Bubic has a big upside, but Nestor Cortez is lights out so far this year. 25 Ks and 15 2/3. Look, he's not a 1.15 ERA, 0.64 WHIP pitcher, but he wants to be in this rotation badly. He seems to step up in important moments, and I'm backing them. Let's just take a look at the weather here and then break down the market for the Yankees Royals. First pitch 68 Fahrenheit, 14.1 miles per hour, sideways right to left and slightly out. It moves a little more out, but it's still right to left, but out to left field, and it gets up to 18.1 and 18.7 miles per hour. What did I get the Yankees at? I got the Yankees first 5 -1. I took him on the first 5 -1 line. Now, obviously, Bubic is going to be better than the horrific displays shown us this year, but I did take him on the -1 line for the Yankees at -109, and that's it. I thought I doubled up, but I did not. So I only took the first 5 with the Yankees. So let's take a look quickly at the line history, and then we will roll into the cash. A huge move on the Yankees. So when I did this, it had come back 15 cents. But it's back at -200. So a 35-cent move to the Yankees since first pitch. And this total has gone from 8 to 8.5. And the 8.5 is now juiced to the over. 8.5 is now juiced to the over. So let's take a look at the cash flow in the Yankees spot. 85% of the tickets, 85% of cash on the Yankees, 68% of tickets, 79% cash on the under. So expecting maybe a positive regression for Bubic. Take it away here, Babano, Yankees Royals.
Yeah, they're going on the road, obviously, here. The Yankees are 6-game win streak. Cortez has been great. I have no interest going against them here. And Bubic here has obviously struggled so far this year. The Yankee lineup, has really come to a life during this win streak as well. Now, granted, a lot of that was just now against Baltimore. Terrible team, and pitching is an issue there. I would look maybe at an over 4.5 team total on the Yankees. -135, though. I don't know if I'll have a small bet on it. It's not going to be an official play just because of where the number is, where the juice is on that. But I do like at least a little bit the Yankee team total over 4.5. But I got enough other plays, so we'll leave that from being official.
So we will move on. But I have the first 5 -1 at -109. And I guess I felt that the -1.5 on the road with travel was too expensive. That's the only possible thing there. I felt it was too expensive. And I will stick with that right now because it's even -200 now. So Joshua Chipman says, I have a lot of money on the Yankees tonight. Got in early last night. Think the Bats get to Bubich early. All right. So let's move on to the next spot on the board. And this was, so I made 5 bets so far today. And this was a double up spot for me on the Cardinals. First 5 -1/2, full game -1. And we arrive at the sweet taint play of the day. Taint play of the day is the Cardinals -1.5 at +120. And I moved on them first 5 -1/2 and full game -1. Taint! So let's break down the situation and then hand it over to Babano. Cards, first 5 -1/2, full game -1. For me, we have Bumgarner versus Wainwright. Thought this was a nice opportunity because Bumgarner started the year so strongly. Let's see what he does against a team that's hitting .278 with an .854 OPS versus lefties. Wainwright also coming off a tough start at the Reds. We know what he does at home. Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, opening pitch. It is 75 Fahrenheit, 9.8 miles per hour, sideways and slightly in. Within an hour, it becomes right to left and not in at all, just right to left. And then when we look at the market here with the spot, sorry, this will just take 1 second over to the Cardinals game. And a big move, 40-cent move towards the Cardinals. What did I get? So they're -200 now. I got it when they were -185, and the run line was +115. They're now -200. We go over to the total. It opened up at 7, -120 to the over. It is now -125 to the over. TJ says, is this good pitching from Arizona staff? Contagious. JP says, my best bet so far. Cards are playing all around good ball, doing all the little things, hitting, base running, defense. Cards are bet on, says JP. Take a look at the cash in this spot. We have slight value on the Cardinals, but 15% of the tickets, 29% of the cash is on Bumgarner and the Diamondbacks. 40% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on the under. Take it away, Babano, Arizona, St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm with you. Nothing really much to add. I mean, St. Louis is playing better. I'm with you on the first 5. I didn't bet the run line. I don't like home team run lines because sometimes they don't even get the 9th inning. So that does, I usually just stay off those, but I am with you on the first 5. I got -116 with St. Louis -0.5 a run in the first 5 innings. So that's what we're doing. Cardinals -0.5, -116 first 5 innings. We know Wainwright owns Busch Stadium. He's been great here. Career numbers here, very good. Last year, again, very good here in his home ballpark. Shutout. Now, it was the Pirates. This is his only home start this year, but he shut him out. He mowed them down. It's going to be a little bit more difficult here again. A little bit. I say stressed a little bit because Arizona's lineup's nothing great either, but he should pitch pretty well here. Arizona's a light hitting group. We know that. And on the flip side, yeah, Bumgarner, a great start, but you're talking about since the beginning of last year, probably the one of, if not the best hitting team against left-handed pitching. I mean, that has been the St. Louis Cardinals. So totally with you. Cardinals first 5, -0.5.
You are locked into that. We'll move on. But interestingly enough, with tracking my action on the -1 line, my record with home teams on the -1 line, my ROI is much better than with the road teams because you get the extra price on the run line at 1.5, and you have the home squad, that historically wins more games than the road squad. For whatever reason, my ROI is really strong with home teams on the -1 line. Babano, first 5 -0.5. I'm on first 5 -0.5 as well, and the full game -1. And Taint in business. We move on to 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds 3-16, 2-9 on the road, 3-16. Colorado Rockies 10-9, 6-4 home at Coors Field. in Denver, Colorado. Let's see what the weather is in Denver. 57 Fahrenheit, and it is windy. 23.1 miles per hour in. Very windy. It goes down to 19.6 in an hour.
There's your reason for the total dropping a full run.
23.1 miles per hour in at first pitch, and it's cold. So wow, and 15 miles per hour. So it does die down a little bit, but it is very windy in. Res Mob, my guy, what's happening? Cash Action Bet says Reds green was skipped last start, made major improvements. Cash Action is on the Reds going up against Sensatella, who's traditionally been good at home. Fireside says Rockies money line is his only play so far. Reds versus righties, just 195, 584 PS. Rockies versus righties, 238, 724 OPS. Reds bullpen, 4.03 ERA, 1.35 whip. Rockies bullpen, the worst in the league right now, 4.92 ERA, 1.46 whip. When we look at the line history in this spot, it opened up as a pick'em. It initially has moved to the Rockies. It went 10 cents in their direction. It's come back 5. So they're at minus 115 now. The total opened up at 11. Juice to the under. It's at 10.5 right now, minus 120 to the under. And Babano's saying it's gone down a whole run, so there must be 10s out there. And when we look at the cash in this game, 9,936 tickets in. Sports Insight says there's legitimate value on the Cincinnati Reds at this price. 21% of the tickets, 33% of the cash on them, 59% of tickets, 78% cash on the under. Take it away, Babano. Reds, Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, this is just I like Green like a lot of people do. Think he's got potential. Think he could be good. We're talking. Look at this is about prices, not teams, not pitchers. This is a horrendous Cincinnati team right now. There's no denying that whatsoever. They have 1 win in their last 10. It's been horrendous. 3-16 ball club, even money in this game against a Colorado team that all they do is play winning baseball at Coors Field. Last year they did. We know the home run splits they had. They were a terrific home team, not good on the road. Same thing so far this year. 6-4 to start the year on the road. Sensatella 2-0 in his home starts. 2 point some, just above 2 ERA at home. I mean, how on earth can you take the Reds, even if you like Green? Look at the price. Even money, 3-16 ball club. I can't do it. I like Green. I do want to back him in spots. Not at this price. Not in this ballpark against this good home team. So, yeah, I don't want to go against Green. I like him. I want to back him in spots. Not at this price. So I'm off the game.
I'm off the game at this point, too. I can understand the love for the Rockies in the chat, but it does make some sense that the idea that the Reds get to move to a different city, maybe this wakes them up a little bit. They have their young stud on the mound. So, and the big bets have come in on the Reds, and the supposed line value on the Reds is enough just to keep me off, but I will cheer on the Rockies. Let's move on to 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians at Oakland Athletics. We're at Oakland Coliseum. Savali going up against Montas. Montas coming off a nice start, 2-0 loss at home versus the Rangers. Now the Rangers don't hit righties, but he went 7 in the third, 3 hits, 2 runs, and 8 Ks with just 1 walk, 0.81 whip, 25 Ks to 4 walks on the year in 24 2/3. Savali got lit up in his last start, 10-2 loss at the Yankees, 9.58 ERA, 1.94 whip on the season. The Guardians are hitting 273, 763 OPS versus righties. A's just 211, 617 OPS. Guardians bullpen 3.57 ERA, 1.16 whip, while the A's bullpen 3.03 ERA, 1.29 whip. In Oakland tonight, it is 66 Fahrenheit, 8.3 miles per hour out to right. It dies completely down, just 2 miles down in an hour. But by 11 p.m., it's down to 2.9 miles per hour, completely dying down. So when we look at the line history in the A's game, we have these Oakland A's opening up as opening up as minus 130 favorites, a 25-cent move towards them. They're now minus 155 favorites. From a total standpoint, they open up at 7 and constant move toward the under. 7 at minus 120 to 7 at minus 125, down to 6.5 at a pick'em. And just 13 minutes ago, it moved to minus 115 to the under 6.5. And we can expect the money to be with this. We have 64% of the tickets, 68% cash on the A's. And listen to this, 33% of tickets, 73% cash on the under. Big bets coming in on the under. Take it away here, Babano, Cleveland, Oakland.
Yeah, remember when everyone was saying after the first week or two, look at this Cleveland team. Maybe they're going to do some damage, surprise some teams. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Look at them now. They've lost 7 in a row. They're not hitting. I mean, the pitching's, been disappointing. But I was very disappointed with Plezak's start the other night against the Angels. It's been disappointing from that standpoint for them. They're just not hitting the lick. I don't know. Maybe we should just give the most valuable player award right now here on April 29th to Stephen Kwan, who's been out the last 4 games with the hamstring injury because they haven't hit a lick without him these last 4 games. So they definitely miss him. We'll see if Savale bounces back. I think he's a solid pitcher. He's capable. But I don't know if I want to back him or this lineup that's just totally, totally lifeless right now. Ice cold, this entire Cleveland lineup right now. And Montas is pitching well. He's been good at home. He is the best pitcher they've got. I would lean Oakland, but I don't like the price. I would lean first 5 under, but you're getting too squeezed on it. So it's a pass.
A pass for me as well. Joshua Chipman says, wish I got Oakland earlier, but I'm not taking it now. Mike M says, Oakland spent the last week hammering my prison pocket. No way they have any energy left after all the work on Mike's prison pocket to take down Savali and the Guardians. Let's move on then. 2 games left before we get into NBA, and we have Durrell ready to rock. Durrell coming off a big 3-1 day and moving his winning percentage up to 57.9%. He's on the grind to get to 60% on the year. Tigers, Dodgers Stadium in Los Angeles, California. We have 65 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 5.3 miles per hour to right, and it dies down throughout the contest, just like it's doing in Oakland. It gets down to 2.9 miles per hour by the end of the game. When we go to the line history in Oakland, we have the A's opening up. In LA, we have the A's opening up at minus 225. They get to minus 240 last night, and then there was a 10-cent move this morning towards the Tigers. That's come back now. It's back to minus 240, and total-wise, it opened at 8.5 at a pick'em. And it is now 10-cent move towards the under. So a move towards the Dodgers slightly into the under. We have line value here with the Tigers. And we have 12% of the money line tickets on them, 20% of the cash. We have 66% of cash on the under, and 66% of the tickets on the under, and 84% of the cash on that under. And we've just seen a 10-cent move towards that under. Alexander versus Anderson. Alexander's last start was home versus the Rockies. He only went 3 2/3, allowed 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 Ks, 1 walk. But we know the Rockies hit lefties. The Dodgers don't. 217, 623 OPS thus far. Tigers hitting lefties much harder, but not with much power. 273 average, you'd think would have a OPS at 780. But it's just 710 OPS. Anderson's last start was a 3-2 extra inning loss at the Padres, who are also hitting lefties. 4 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Anderson, 2.84 ERA, 0.87 WHIP. He's looked good so far this year. Both bullpens have been lights out. Take it away, Babano. Tigers, Dodgers.
Yeah, I think he's a very hittable lefty, Alexander for Detroit. But you did mention that they're having a tough time against. I do lean to this over. With 8.5 being the total right now. I don't know if I'll make this official. Anderson has been good, 2.84 ERA, 2.25 ERA, the lefty for the Dodgers here. And the Tigers do hit lefties. Tigers have pretty decent numbers, 273 this year, 5.21 runs per game against lefties this year. Not so much lately, but overall still the numbers are good for them against the lefties. So, tricky little spot here for the Dodgers. And look, we just saw the Dodgers, lose back-to-back games against Arizona. That's the one thing that does worry me here about Detroit team total or anything to do with Detroit. You get focus from the Dodgers, right? They just lost 2 in a row to Arizona. That's not going to, sit well with them whatsoever. Anderson has been good. So I do lean to Tigers team total over. I do lean to the full game over, but I'm just going to keep that as a lean right now.
See, I'm on the other side. I like the under here. I do. I think that the bullpens have been so good. Dodgers' best bullpen in baseball, 2.28 ERA, 0.82 WHIP. Tigers is right there. And so the Dodgers aren't hitting lefties. That's the offense I need to worry about. I've liked what Tyler Anderson is doing. The Tigers are hitting lefties with hits, rinky-dink hits, but they're not hitting it with a ton of power. So I understand that why there's been a 10-cent move towards the under. And then when I look at where the cash is, I see that big bets have – no, I don't. Why did I say it? There's 65% tickets on the under, 56% of cash. So actually, bigger bets have come in on the over. Huh. Okay, well, maybe I'll spend a little bit more time. So bigger bets have come in on the over, and you kind of like the over. So I'll put a couple of question marks with some asterisks. But I think that the under is there. DX Father says agree with Ian and his Dodgers narrative coming off 2 losses to the Diamondbacks and then coming home. All right, let's move on to the final game on the card before we get into NBA. That's the Washington Nationals at San Francisco Giants, Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Let's take a look at the weather here. 54 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 10.6 miles per hour to right center, dies down to 7.4. We go over to the cash flow in this Giants spot. We have the Nats opening up at plus 170. They're now plus 190. So the Giants have gone from minus 200 to minus 230. From a total perspective, opened up at 7.5, juiced to the under at minus 115, and it has yet to move. When you look at the cash here, we have 11,613 tickets in. It's all Giants cash. 93% of the tickets, 94% of cash, 52% tickets, 60% cash to the over. And it's Aaron Sanchez, who was a Giant recently and started his career as a Blue Jay. Actually had the best ERA in the league in 2016 somehow in the American League. We thought he had a huge future. We thought him and Stroman were going to be the aces of this Blue Jay staff. He's coming off a 5-2 loss at home to the Giants. So they're facing him in back-to-back starts. Why do I feel like that? I want to double-check that. Maybe someone can double-check that for whatever reason. I don't remember him starting against – did he start against Giants? Maybe he did. Alex Wood, 2-0, 2.51 ERA, 1.19 whip. So if that's the case, then you're getting Sanchez, who is clearly could be picked up for a cup of coffee by any team in the league, facing the same team back-to-back. Nationals versus lefties, just 211, 580 OPS. Giants versus righties, 243, 714 OPS. Nationals bullpen, 3.61 ERA, 1.30 whip, while the Giants bullpen is being unbelievably good, 1.54 ERA, 1 ERA. I did say the Dodgers have the best bullpen in the league, but the Giants would have something to say about that. Take it away here, Babano, Nats, Giants.
Well, this is interesting because the Nationals, for a decent period of time, were pretty good against lefties. That ain't right now. It's been a rough state. 204 average, 3.9 runs per game. The last 10 games, it's been worse. 179 for the Nats against lefties and a 3.1 run per game average. It's not been good for this Nationals lineup. They've not hit a lick. It's Juan Soto and who else? Essentially on the Nats lineup right now, and it's trouble for them to score runs. So I think Alex Wood can pitch a pretty solid game here for the Giants, and he's one of those many Giants pitchers that seems to fit well with this ballpark. On the flip side, Aaron Sanchez for Washington. By the way, he faced the Giants just recently. It was last weekend in Washington. Aaron Sanchez faced them. It didn't go well for Aaron Sanchez. Only lasted a little over 4 innings in that start. Got chased in it, gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 home run, 1 walk, so labored through it. The Giants ended up winning that game 5-2. Second look now for the Giants against Sanchez. I'm going to keep this simple. Not Giants run line. I'm going to go the team total on San Francisco. This will be my last official play for baseball. San Francisco plus 100, even money. San Francisco team total over 4.5. I think they can get there. They scored 5 the last time they faced Aaron Sanchez. Their season average against righties is 241, exactly 5 runs per game. That'll get the job done. In fact, even better than that, last 5 games, this team's hitting 264 and averaging 6 runs per game against right-handed pitching, the Giants. So I think they can get to 5 runs. That's all I need. So over 4.5, Giants team total plus 100.
Yeah, makes sense. And you're getting the plus 100. The -1 line right now, Bet365 is minus 173. If you use a calculator, that's too expensive. Do you want them on the run line at minus 110? The home team on the minus 1.5. Certainly, Giants first 5 -1 will probably get on my card. But if that's the case, actually the Nationals bullpen hasn't been that bad. 3.61 ERA, 1.30 whip. Maybe I could just stick to that first 5 and focus on Alex Wood over Aaron Sanchez. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I'm interested. I'm interested in coming in. All right, let's review action in MLB and then move on to NBA. Great job, Babano. 30 games we broke down in NHL and NBA. We'll review the NHL games at the end.
What a ride.
Show. What a ride. Babano gets his card started with the team total over 4.5 and plus 110 for the San Diego Padres. Padres team total over 4.5 at plus 110. And I'm on the Padres first 5 -0.5. Then I have interest in the Marlins. And I lean under in this Red Sox-Orioles game. Babano's on the over 8.5 in Astros Blue Jays. I'm already on the Astros first 5, but I'm going to add the first 5 over in that game. I'm interested in this first 5 under 3.5 in Angels White Sox. I'm going to look into it a little more. Babano's on the over 7.5 in Twins Rays, and I'm going to hammer the angle of the 7-game winning streak, 7 or more games won in a row, and switching cities. I'm going to fade the Twins, Rays -1. Can't wait to see when that game comes to fruition. Say hey play of the day is Mets -113, and the Mets team total over 3.5 at +110. Babano's on the first 5, Mets at -107, and the full game Mets at -113. And the Mets and team total over also sound interesting to me. And I think that we're going to benefit off of Nola's spectacular start at home, and hopefully he regresses on the road. Dommy Guns action is in. He's Mets team total -105, so that's 3.5. Rockies -115, Cards -1.5 at +115, and a Braves Brewers parlay, which is something that he doesn't do very often. Then the first 5 on the Braves, I'm interested in. I'm going to look into a little more. Babano is on a first 5 full game. Brewers -134 on the first 5, -134 on the full game. I'm going to come in on that too, expecting Kyle Hendricks to get hurt a little bit on the road. So now we're taking Aaron Nola and Kyle Hendricks, who've been coming off of spectacular home starts, to get touched a little bit on the road, which is a little nerve-wracking. I'm on the first 5 Yankees -1 and -109. Liking Cortez and what he's doing, expecting Bubic to get touched. Babano's on the first 5 -0.5 for the Cards. And I did that first 5 and full game. First 5 -0.5, full game -1. Reds Rockies, we're staying off. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is Oakland. Oakland is the spreadsheet play of the day. Oakland at home to the Guardians. Frankie Montas against Aaron Savali. Then I'm interested in this under 8.5 Tigers Dodgers. I'm going to spend a little more time on it. Babano's on the Giants team total over 4.5 at +100, and I want in on the Giants. I think it's a smash and grab. There you have it. Spectacular work, Babano. I love these Fridays working with you. Hope your pockets are fatter when you wake up tomorrow, my friend. Follow Babano on Twitter at Babano. Babano, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, it was. This is probably the longest amount of time I'll be on the show all year, because we had the huge final day of the NHL card. We had the huge baseball card, but time well spent, as always, because breaking down the cards a lot of fun. Good luck, everybody in the chat. Hit the like button. That's important. Jimmy, have a great weekend. Let's cash some tickets.
Let's do it, my man. There he is, Hamilton, Ontario's own Ian Cameron. We move right on to NBA, and your expert is coming off a great day. He wrote the script for the Milwaukee Bucks Chicago Bulls game 5. He had Bucks first half -7.5 easy casher. He had Bucks first half team total over 56.5 was an easy casher. He had Bulls first half team total under 49. That was an easy casher. He was also on the Nuggets first quarter +3.5, which was the only thing they didn't cover in that game. I was with them on that, but I did cash on the Nuggets or Warriors Nuggets first quarter under 58. Piker in that game, 2 poker addicted 79s, was all over the under. It was his favorite play on the board. Lamont, what is it? Sorry, I missed it. Oh, Max Parlay, White Sox solo over and Miguel strikeouts. Thank you for sharing that, Lamont. Your max bets are a thing of beauty. So I will copy and paste that right here, right under TJ's action. Thank you for sharing that with us. But now our guy, Durrell, is sitting at 88 wins and 64 losses, hitting at 57.9%, plus 19.63 units, ROI plus 12.91%, and average line just -103. Please welcome to the show direct from Los Angeles, California, Darrell Rice in the house. It's Darrell.
Yo. Have my coffee, Doug. Just had to get that in. Just had to get that in for you, man. Happy Friday, Doug. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everyone in the chat as well. It is good to be back, man. Good to be back. Ball has been great. As I always say, any day on this side of the grass is a damn good day, man. So I'm happy to be talking ball. Happy we only got one game, right? But I did make some moves. I made some moves, man. I did. So see if they cash today.
Well, we have a lot of people interested thus far in the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know if Dennis Garcia is still in the chat, but he has the Timberwolves plus 300 to win the series. And I'd be very curious to hear what he has for this game in the Target Center in Minnesota. What we do have, though, Durrell, to get us started is Ron Crawford is on your Memphis Grizzlies. Sammy Calmer has moved on the Timberwolves first quarter. Nasty Nate is on the Wolves first half.
Really?
Wolves
I got to
first-
start paying attention to Nate, bro. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
Nate, you're my radar, dog. You're my radar. You have humbled me with the Boston Celtics pick. Hey, and what Jimmy, what I really hate is I go on these little runs where I come one game, right? One game from sweeping the board. Now, if you watch that Denver first quarter, it came down to a Bones Highland, like just chip shot, right? And we would have covered by the hook, and he missed it. So 25-30. It could have been 27-30, but I was so mad at that loss. But yeah, like you said, that Milwaukee game, kind of the flow of that game, I felt that a little bit, and it kind of went that way. And that's kind of how I feel is going to go with this Minnesota-Memphis game.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your breakdown because, yes, I was watching it very closely because I got the 3, and I know we got you the 3.5 on the show, but you had bet at 3 too. So if Bones had to hit that jumper, I pushed the side, but then I still cashed the under for the first quarter. So I wanted it very badly as well. And it was upsetting. It was very upsetting.
Yeah, that one shot, man. Now, and with me, Jimmy, I'm the to me, I'm the type of dude that I would rather lose, like just outright lose, than it just come down to a nail biter. I hate that. About picking sports really is, if I'm going to lose, man, just let me lose and get it over. Just get this ass whooping over with, bro. Right? Don't let me have to worry about the last shot to see if I'm going to win or lose. But honestly, that one shot just made me so upset. But yeah, I think this Grizzlies game is going to go good. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about this game.
Let's talk about it. But I'm last night watching the Raptors fall apart in the second half. My girlfriend was like, "I'd prefer this. I prefer us losing by 30 than losing." And I was like, "I wouldn't. I want to show some fight. I want there to be fight in the dog."
You did have fight though, Jay. It was that third quarter was a mess.
Yeah,
it was a mess, man. I don't know. It just seemed like Philly came all together and showed you the type of team they could be in that third quarter. I mean, it was 61-62 at halftime.
1 point game, yeah.
1 point game, bro. And then you're looking at like close to the bottom half of this third quarter, and it's like 80-67.
17-0 run.
Yeah, I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So all in all, it was a good fight for Toronto. We'll see. Nick Nurse is going to get the bag. I mean, it's only one game, so we can kind of talk about what's going on. Nick Nurse is definitely going to get the bag, right? Mm-hmm. And you got some moves to make in the offseason, but Toronto's in good hands. They're in good hands.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a shitty loss. I think this game would have been different if they were able to steal an early game versus get down 3-0. You know what I'm saying? But still, all in all, Doc was playing. He was coaching for his life. He was literally coaching for his life. So he pulled out all kind of stops. I guarantee you, it was tense in that locker room. It was like, yo, y'all better play y'all's best game, because he had already thrown all of his older teams under the bus, right? It's not my fault, So situational things happen, and I think it was one of those things to where if Doc would not have recovered from this 3-0 lead here, that would have probably cemented his legacy as a coach in the playoffs, right?
I agree. Yeah, without a doubt. For us here, where we needed Fred VanVleet so badly was to stop runs, to calm everybody down, to let them know, to hit a big shot and just be like, it's okay, it's okay. That's where we missed him badly. It wasn't sure when he's off the floor we defend better. I mean, whatever, but he's still our only all-star, and he could just be the veteran presence, stop a run, and we missed having him on the floor. But let's talk about new money, and let's get that new money. Grizzlies, Timberwolves. The Grizzlies open up on the 26th at 11:08 p.m. as -130 favorites. The initial move that happened in the first 10 hours that the line was available was Minnesota money.
Yes,
Minnesota went from +110 to -110 on the money line. And then a slight move back to Memphis, but still since the line opened up, there's still been a 10-cent move from plus 110 to plus 100 on the money line. And on the point spread, it's plus 2 to plus 1.5. And it just moved from 1 to 1.5 at 5:37 a.m. this morning.
Mhm.
From a totals look, we have it opening up at 229.5. The initial move to the under to 228.5 to 228, and then build back up to 229, down to 228.5, and it's now at 229.5, exactly where it opened up. So let's see if the cash follows suit with the line movements. 24,740 tickets in. 62% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on Memphis. Then we have 39% of the tickets on the over, but 57% of cash on the over. This series has been played at a pace of 103.5 possessions a game, but that doesn't tell the whole story because it opened up so fast at 106.5 possessions a game, and it slowed down, and it's starting to speed up a little bit in these last two games. So Minnesota went into Memphis and played great. They led by double digits in the third, and Memphis just took over. And still, when Ant hit that 3 to tie it up, it looked like it was going to go to overtime, but Ja wouldn't hear it.
Ja took care of that.
Yeah, he wouldn't have it. 30 points, 13 boards, 9 assists, and he was a monster. Cat goes for 28 and 12, and Steven Adams will miss game 6, but having him off the floor because of health and safety, but having him off the floor has been helpful for the Grizzlies, as Cat was a terrible matchup for him. Here we go. Durrell coming off a 3-in-1 day, hitting at 57.9% with an average line minus 103. Just a taint hair from 20 units up on the year.
Just a taint.
Just a taint hair from 20 units up. You're less than 0.4 units away from 20 unit mark. Take it away. Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves, game 6.
Okay, first off, do you have anywhere in your books? Is there a spot to where Pete is going to come out and disrupt the game again? I want to take that, whatever it is. It's got to be juice to the over, right? There's got to be some type of disruption, or maybe they just have security on 10 for this game. I'm going to say a couple of things, and this might come across as square. I've never considered myself sharp with the company that I'm in, right? And I always at times try to take a philosophical approach, and even sometimes they may be wrong, right? And then sometimes I look at the numbers because the numbers will always tell you a story. So a lot of people are going to jump on, and this is kind of the mistake I made yesterday, but I felt good about it, and it was the Suns ATS first half and the New Orleans Pelicans ATS second half. A lot of people are going to look at this game, and they are going to look at Minnesota first quarter, right? They're going to look at that because Minnesota has beat them just about every game for the exception of one in the first quarter, right? And in spite of doing so, the first quarter is still favored to Memphis, right? At Minnesota at that. I think this is a spot to where people are going to jump on Minnesota, and for whatever reason, it's not going to cash. I think Memphis is going to come out and win the first quarter here, right? So I came close to playing that. But here's another spot to where I thought was very, very interesting, and I took it early this morning. The total for the first quarter on this game is 56.5, which is eerily low to me, because one thing without a shadow of a doubt that you know is going to happen is there's going to be a team who scores 30 points. There's going to be a team who scores 30 points in the first quarter. Minnesota's got as high as 41 points in the first quarter. So I don't see that changing. Now, you might have teams get into foul trouble. We've already seen that happen where you had John Allman in foul trouble in the first quarter because Scott Foster was reffing the game, and they still scored over 60 points in the first quarter. So my first quarter right now play is the total over 56.5. I thought that was eerily low, but then I went to the numbers, and this is what kind of you just threw me off a little bit. Last one game, Minnesota had 31. You know, they are ranked first in the league for first quarter points with an average of 30. Last three, they're averaging 34. Memphis is number 2. In the last one, they had 28, which would give you a total of 59 points. And at the last 3, they're at 25. So even in the last 3, with Minnesota averaging 34 points, let's just say 35, and Memphis averaging 25, that gives you 60 points there, just in their average and how they're playing in the playoffs. So I stepped on the first quarter, 56.5 points over. I stepped on that early this morning. And I do believe that it still goes over because one of these teams is going to score at least 30 points. If you look at the books, and the numbers have just changed, and this is weird to me. It's got the first quarter as the Memphis Grizzlies being favorites, but it is juiced to the over at 27.5 points for total points scored by Memphis. And for Minnesota, it is juiced to the under. Juiced to the under at 28.5 points. So you got one team that's supposed to score less points, right? Even though it's juiced to the over, the books are saying, hey, we think you're going to take the over, so we're going to juice it. And you got one team that's at 28.5 points that's juiced to the under. What I believe is going to happen, just based on how the numbers are looking right now, I do believe Memphis is going to come out and win this first quarter. I do believe that. I believe that just purely based on what the numbers are trying to show you and where the books are trying to get money. For whatever reason, there's a lot of money going on that over 27.5, so they juiced it, right? And for whatever reason, there's a lot of money going on that under for Minnesota, so they juiced it, right? So if you're telling me that more people are thinking that that Memphis is going to score more points in the first quarter than Minnesota, then that makes sense to take Memphis first quarter. That makes sense to take them first quarter. So I'm coming really close to taking Memphis first quarter. But what I do believe without a shadow of a doubt is going to happen, because you've got Memphis juiced to the over really on the 27.5 points, that's somebody is 30 points in the first quarter. One of these teams are going to do it. So if you've got one of these teams scoring 30 points, then all the other team has to do is score 27 points. So in my opinion here, one of the safest plays is to take the total over 56.5 points. And that's where I went. So 56.5 points is eerily low to me. We got to put our tinfoil hats on, man. And because Scott Foster is now repping this game, it might be a problem. The problem really resides. I don't know if that's I'm plugged in here. I don't have Wi-Fi. I've actually got wired. The problem with Minnesota is this: they can get things done first quarter, first half, right? Where they get up by 20 points, 25 points, and then they lose it second half. So I think that's angling a lot of people to take Minnesota early, right? Because that's what the trend is showing, how Minnesota can get ahead in the game in the first half, and then in the second half they lose it. So I say to say this: I believe this is a time for the books to get money, and I believe there's a lot of money put and a lot of emphasis put on Minnesota early, and I'm just going to take the contrarian play here. I think Memphis is going to win this first quarter. I believe the flow of this game is going to be them scoring points over in the first half, and then all in all, I believe Memphis is going to win this game outright. So I do have Memphis, Minnesota, first quarter over 56.5 points, and Minnesota minus 1.5. That's my side.
Okay, so I can get you a 56.
Yeah, right, and then that number is going down. Now, here's the thing. Let's just say that the numbers the books have already given you the numbers, right? According to the books believe Minnesota is going to win the first quarter by a point, just based off what they're giving you. 28 points, 28.5 points by Minnesota, 27.5 by Memphis. So if the books are saying that Minnesota has to score more points, then why are they the dogs in the first quarter? Right?
I don't have them as the dogs here in the first quarter.
I have them as the dogs.
I've got a pretty big difference here. I got the Timberwolves first quarter. This is at Pinnacle at minus 119, while the Grizz are plus 106.
Okay, that's on. What's the spread on that?
The spread is minus a half for the Timberwolves at minus 109, and plus a half for the Grizzlies at minus 103.
Yeah, I've got my book is showing them at plus a half Minnesota Timberwolves first quarter and minus a half Memphis Grizzlies.
Wow, what's your plus a half on the Timberwolves?
Plus a half, it's funny. It's at minus 120
Yeah, okay. Mine's minus 133.
for Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, Minnesota Timberwolves plus a half minus
Yeah,
133.
so that's what I'm saying. If they're supposed to score more points, then why are they the dogs? Did I say favorites earlier?
They're not the Timberwolves are not the dogs here. It's a big. There's a 25-cent, but that's a pinnacle. Let me see a different book here.
Yeah, I mean, if they're plus a half, then they're the dogs. So
Minnesota, I just gave you what the plus a half was. They're not. They're Minnesota with no just Minnesota money lines minus 119, while Memphis money lines plus 106.
Yeah, well, money line for me here, they're both minus 115.
Oh wow!
So you're getting better numbers. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to take the spread on this, Minnesota are the dogs. They're not minus points. They're plus a half.
No, the Minnesota is minus a half at minus 109.
Yeah, I've got plus a half at minus 120. So
okay,
that's the book. So all I'm saying is the book I'm looking at now maybe it's stale at this point, right? But what I'm looking at is Minnesota plus a half at minus 120 and Memphis minus a half even. That's what I have.
Okay.
So what this is telling me really is that even though Minnesota is showing more points, they're still supposed to lose the first quarter according to the books. And I think a lot of people are going to take that plus half because what Minnesota's done in the last, they've won every game in the first quarter. They've won every game in the first quarter, right? They've lost one game. So Minnesota comes out on fire. They play well in the first quarter, and Minnesota has to play from behind. So what I'm looking at here, honestly, is that this is going to be a game that kind of turns around. Even if there is foul trouble involved because you want to extend this series, I honestly believe that Memphis is going to come out with a little bit more tenacity here and at least win the first quarter and win the full game. Won't be a trifecta, but win the first quarter and win the full game. So I haven't stepped on the first quarter just yet. I did step on the full game, right, at minus 1.5. But the biggest bet that I have here so far right now is the over 56.5 points first quarter.
Well, everybody is with you on this. Tease, Astute Chaos, guys who just
Really?
cash are with you on the first quarter over.
Let me look at the comments. Okay.
Memphis full game, I have minus 1.5, a minus 108. Did you want to make that official as well?
Memphis full game? Yes. Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Well, there's 25,496 tickets in here, which means that I could easily move this to first quarter action. I think that we have enough tickets in. No, we do not. Okay, damn. Seeing if we had enough. We have the first half. We can, though. The first half has 40% of the tickets and 64% of the cash on the Timberwolves.
That's funny. That's funny. That's a lot of cash for it to. I mean, this went from minus 1 back to minus 1.5. So there was a big bet that came in on Memphis Grizzlies.
And spreadsheet play today is all, as I mentioned off the top, is the Memphis Grizzlies. C Bling says low key like Minnesota tonight. And so Dennis Garcia also, he took the Timberwolves plus 300 to win the series. He also took the Timberwolves plus 1.5 at plus 120. Mm-hmm. So he has basically, he's got the Timberwolves at plus 120 tonight on the money line.
Yeah.
This is so let's talk about Ja. There was thoughts that maybe he was hurting. I mean, he showed that if that's the case, he's capable of still playing elite basketball. Let's talk about the Timberwolves and Karl Anthony Towns, because it seems like we don't know what we're going to get with Cat. And it was said perfectly here in the chat. By Jay Peasy. He says if Cat gets gangsta, T-Wolves can win. So he says, which cat shows up? Kitty Cat or Gangsta Cat? Why don't we start there? Which cat do you expect to see in Game 6 at home in front of his home fans in Minnesota?
This is scary. I mean, you don't know what you get from Cat. Just frustrates me. He just frustrates me, really. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. You would think being back at home, he is going to play, but we've seen in the series that there wasn't the last game. Cat actually played pretty decent, and they still lost. So I think the X factor really is not necessarily with Minnesota, but how Memphis glue guys play. Now, this line is short, and I believe you're going to need some work out of Xavier Tillman. You're going to need some more work out of Dylan Brooks. You're going to need some more work out of Desmond Bane, who was just on fire from his threes last game, right? But I think you got to just find those glue guys. On Minnesota's end, Jared Vanderbilt, now I'm talking about it. Look at his rebounds. Like, if his rebounds are, what's his rebounds over under? Are we at 7 or 6?
I will grab it right now. I'll take a look at a couple different books, but just at I got a couple up, but I bet 365 right now. Tillman. Sorry, you said Tillman?
No. Jared Vanderbilt.
Oh, sorry, Vanderbilt.
This guy's like he'll get you 10 rebounds.
This is 7.5 juice to the over at minus 130.
Yes. Okay, so that makes sense. So you're going to need play out of him and things of that nature, right? Because it to me, we could talk about the stars, right? But the games that have been won is really based upon how these glue guys have played. And so the game that they stole out of Minnesota, it was the glue guys who showed up, right? You had a really good game out of a lot of your glue guys, and I just think that needs to happen. Sometimes, when I look at Cat, and it's funny because Charles Barkley said it best. Like, this guy's a smart player who makes some of the most stupidest decisions when it comes to ball play, right? So if we get Cat in a position where he's doing pick and pops because he wants to shoot threes and get off early, then I think that makes for a long night for Minnesota. So for him, the best game that Minnesota can play is to get these boys into foul trouble. Get on the inside and get these boys into foul trouble early. Let Scott Foster do his thing as he always does and keep it moving. So yeah, I which Cat shows up, I'm not sure. But what I do know, you don't have Steven Adams in there, right? He didn't play at the beginning of the series, but kind of came in for some, for some spot plays in the latter part of the season, latter part of the series, these last 2 games. I think you are going to miss him in this point, especially if you need boards, right? So if you need some boards because you're getting beat on the glass, then Steven Adams matters, and that's going to hurt Memphis in that manner. I think having Tillman there, not playing today is going to kind of hurt Memphis. So there are going to be different games being played here, and you don't have that depth with Memphis now that you will have. I mean, you've got McDaniels that should have a good game. He kind of got a couple fouls real quick last game for Minnesota. We're still putting out an APB for Russell. Like, D'Angelo Russell, like, he just hasn't been that star player in this series at all. It's more about Ant-Man making the final 3 to tie the game up, and then Ja Morant giving you just a Ja Morant play at the end of the game to beat them. This is one of these games to where if Cat is going to get off, if he gets off, like, does it really matter? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try to finesse you and say that I do know, because whichever Cat shows up, I mean, does that matter? Does he win them the game? Right? Does he win them the game? And I don't know. So I just think, based upon the past results of this series and how it's gone, this team can be up, bro. Minnesota can be up by double digits with these boys playing lights out, and they still lose the fucking game. They still lose it. So if I'm just gonna go just off the flow of the game itself, I just think it's another upset. You don't want to extend this series. All the game 6s yesterday were pretty much done. They're done, right? We thought we would have some extensions at least 1 or 2 games. We knew for sure that Dallas was going to beat Utah, but we thought Toronto was going to extend the series to a 7. We kind of thought New Orleans has a chance, how Alvarado had been playing Chris Paul, right? But those series are over. It's done. Game 6s are done, wrapped. We're moving on to the next round. And I do believe you can have that happen tonight. And that's why I like Memphis.
Well, let's just hope it's not this cat that shows up. Let's just hope.
Bro.
I'd argue that's a good one.
Durrell, great breakdown. First quarter over 56 at -109. Astute Chaos has done it with the 56.5 at +100 and the 57 at +109. So,
I mean, one of these teams are going to score 30, right? So if we're slowing down the game because Scott Foster is calling fouls, right? I like I was saying earlier on my show today, these are not elite defensive teams. They have the fastest pace. They're the highest scoring teams in the league. I don't think that, because Scott Foster is going to come in and try to extend the series and call fouls, that's really going to stop the scoring because the defense isn't there. So I know the number is extremely low, but I just think me watching this series I've watched probably the closest, Jimmy, out of all of them. This Memphis and Minnesota, only because it's been really exciting, right? This has been an exciting series. But just look at those numbers in the first quarter, man. Like, there's no way it would have to, I just don't see it. Highest scoring for the leagues already for the season, for the league itself. Somebody's going to score 30. I just don't know who that is. Somebody's going to score 30, which means you got to just give 26, 27 points to the other team. The numbers are juice going different directions. It just feels like if you're going to play, make a play, a confident play, go over the 56.5, regardless if Scott Foster's there. If I'm right, Scott Foster's already reffed them in the game that they got into foul trouble, right, early, and that still went over 60 points in the first quarter. It still went over 60. I believe that was game 3 or 4, and it still went over. So I do like the over.
I love it, Durrell.
Nasty Nate, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. Nasty Nate humbled me, bro. He did. All respect to that brother, man, because he called it on Boston. I thought the Nets had something better, Jay, but yeah. Just looking ahead at that game, man, because I won't see you. -4.5, man. Boston.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I might just make a play on Boston. Might just make a play.
We got great playoff matchups coming up in both NBA and NHL. A fun time of year. And Astute Chaos, Boston, Milwaukee, first half over 106. He says great defensive teams, but this number is low for their offenses.
Yeah. If we're kind of forward thinking here, I want to say, and I'll ask Nate, I know we got to get out of here, but it was only one game, right? I believe the Nets kind of beat Boston on the boards in a couple of those games, right? I would just have to look at the numbers. This is just me kind of bird dogging here, but Boston's going to have a problem with boards against Milwaukee. They are. So that -4.5 is kind of steep to me, in my opinion. I know we're talking about defense, but Milwaukee could probably pull off a win. It's a small weighted measure out of the 4 factors of basketball, right? With your scoring, your rebounds, and your free throws. Those rebounds are a small measure, right? But they mean a lot. And I just want to see if Boston's going to be able to match the boards with Milwaukee. A lot of people are going to jump on Boston, right? So I'm going to look at this game a little more closely and try to dissect the numbers here. But I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee kept this closer than what people think.
It's a great series coming up. And you are on your drive for 60. Drive for 60% now at 57.9%. First quarter over 56 at -109. That correlates with Astute Chaos. It correlates with Tease. You're in great company. You're also on Memphis.
Yeah, Tease is a killer, man. Yeah, if he likes that, I wonder if that was his whale play. How does he do it? But yeah, Astute and Tease, I like that they're both on it too. So that's good.
No doubt. And Memphis -1.5 at -108.
Spreadsheet play of the day for Ron Crawford.
Play of the day also, Memphis. I love it. We will see you in round 2, my man.
Yeah,
we will see you in round 2 next Wednesday. Durrell will be back in action. Coming off of Beauty Day. It was really impressive what you did. on Wednesday. So let's keep it rolling, my man, on the drive for 60. On the drive for 60. Follow our man Durrell on Twitter at It's Durrell. Our guy Durrell. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show, my guy?
Last words, man. Hey, y'all have a safe weekend. Make sure you get out there, drink some booze, get completely drunk. This is one of those weekends, Jay, where I might start drunk tweeting. Jose called that shit. Jose, where you at? Jose called that. Well, as soon as I started drunk tweeting, I saw Jose retweet something like it. So it begins. So it's an easy weekend for me, man. I got a lot of work done. I've already started drinking, so I think it might be a drunk tweet weekend. It just might be.
Good.
Yeah,
I can't wait to pick out the tweet. It's gonna be like, oh man, I drink Rihanna's bathwater, and we'll be like, all right, Daryl's in the sauce. We all know.
On the sauce, bro. On the sauce. On the sauce. I appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate you, man. Some big opportunity coming for us. This, in the next couple of weeks here, I'm kind of getting ready for that here. Going to make some kind of changes to my IKEA setup here as well.
Nice.
So yeah, man. Looking forward to that. Jimmy, be cool, man. Be cool, brother, and I will see you on next week.
I look forward to it. There he is. It's Durrell. And Nutflush Allen says, read it, Jimmy. And what he says is, my whale play is Lakers not to make the playoffs. That's from Nutflush Allen, his whale play. Spectacular work from Durrell once again. All right. I think I'll run with you guys on this first quarter over. It was funny because in that first quarter under 58 in Golden State Warriors, Denver looked really bad 7 minutes in, 8 minutes in. But I was like, how could they possibly give us a 58 if all the games have gone 51, 52? And it sort of feels like that. Like if we look at what the first quarter totals have been, like now we're down to 56. I mean, remember this total in game 2 was 241.5, and it went way under. By the way, Dennis Garcia saying Milwaukee wins the game and series. What? It's Stu Chaos's birthday? How did I miss that? Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Sorry, yeah, of course. Sorry, you said it off the top, and I'm going to copy and paste that again just to make sure I can wish our man, Stu Chaos, a happy birthday. All right, let's review all action. And in NHL, I have a ton of it. And I'm on the brink of just losing my shit in NHL. So walking the tightrope here. I need a day to day. The good thing is my actions in and out every Friday, 25% if you're over 500 or down 500. That's with my local. So I will be receiving a nice chunk of cash regardless of what I blew yesterday. I will be receiving a nice chunk of cash today and next Friday as well if I don't blow that shit. So it's a big day for me in NHL. Spreadsheet play today in NHL for Ron Crawford is the Buffalo Sabres. In baseball, it's the Oakland A's. In basketball, it's the Memphis Grizzlies. For me in NHL, I have 8 bets that I've already made. That starts with where is it here? That starts with Sabres -1 at +117, Wild at +110, Blues -1.5 at +140, Senators first period -105, Senators full game +105. Then I added the Sabres first period -0.5 at +150, and the Capitals first period and full game each at -110. I'm going to add one spot, which I will mention here in a second, but Babano is on the Sabres and the first period -0.5 as well. We've stayed off Bruins, Leafs, and Panthers, Habs. Babano's on the Devils over 3.5, team total over 3.5, -108, and he's on the over 5.5 in Capitals, Rangers. Senators, Flyers, I've doubled up on the Senators. He stayed off that spot. He's on the over 6 in Pittsburgh, Columbus. Lightning, Islanders, we have stayed off. He's on Blues in regulation, and I'm on Blues -1.5. I would prefer a -1 line. I think I got a little greedy. Babano's on the Wild at -118. I got them at +110. He's on the Jets at +135. I ended up staying off that. I'm very curious to see if Calgary keeps rolling. Ducks, Stars, we stayed off, as we did with the Canucks, Oilers. Oh, it's the Kraken. That's my addition here. Babano's on the Kraken at -120. You made a great case for the Kraken. They were at -125 when I was talking about whether or not I would add them. And right now they're at, please don't be -135. Please don't be, they're at -135. Late to the party. Makes me angry. Predators, Coyotes, Babano's on the draw at plus 440 and the over 6.5 at minus 105. Taint play today is the Cardinals minus 1.5 at plus 120. I'm on the Padres first 5 minus a half. Babano's on the Padres team total over 4.5 at plus 110. I'm going to add the Marlins here to my card. I lean under Red Sox Orioles. I'm going to take another look at that. Astros first 5 I'm already on and minus 105. I'm going to add the first 5 over. Babano's on the full game over 8.5. The under 3.5 interests me in Angels White Sox, but it's pretty low. And the Angels are hitting too hard against righties. So I think I cut it. But the idea is, can Giolito shut down this Angels lineup enough? And I'm going to cut it. It's just too low with one team raking the way they are. I'm going to cut it. It probably ends at 3 runs and it would have cashed, but I'm going to cut it. Obviously, I haven't bet yet.
I had the same thought process as you, and I took the full game under.
Yeah. I like it. I've got enough action here. Babano's on the over 7.5 and Twinkies Rays. I'm on the Rays minus 1. Not yet, but will be. Say hey, play today's Mets minus 113 and the Mets team total over 3.5 plus 110. I'm going to jump on the Mets team total over as well and the Mets full game. Babano's on the Mets first 5 and full game. Thank you, Lance LaRose, my guy. Joshua Chipman says NHL's been tough for me too. I'd be much better off this year without it, but it's first season betting it. I think I'll stick to totals, too much juice on money lines. I was on a nice juicy 18 or plus 17 in 17.8 unit run before yesterday's debacle. Actually, it had moved to 16.5 before yesterday's debacle. But the Braves first 5 I'm interested in. Babano is on the Brewers first half and full game. I like it and I want in, but I'm not going to take the minus 134 that he got. I'm going to make a move on the minus 0.5 and minus 1, I believe. I'm on the Yankees minus 1, first 5 minus 1 at minus 109. Babano's on the Cards first 5 minus 0.5 and minus 116. I'm on the first 5 minus 0.5 and full game minus 1. Reds Rockies were off. Spreadsheet play today, as I said, is Oakland Athletics. And then the under 8.5 in Tigers Dodgers interests me very much. And the Giants. I'm going to get in on the Giants, and I'm going to pay the price here. Did you move on the Giants?
I did not know.
Okay.
But I do have a story and a bet for you. This is not this is an official say hey play, but this is the first time on the show I'll be giving out something that I cannot bet because my book is not giving it out, and this is an NFL draft prop.
All right, let's hear it.
So I'll start with this. Here's something that you learn when you get your own show and you start hosting and you become a winning capper and over 20 units. People start to like you a little more. People start to like you a little more. Who would have thought that? And you know our good pal DX Filer, aka Gamblestein.
Yes, I do.
Yes, throughout the show, whenever I come on, you get the throw up emojis, boos from DX, all that good stuff. And it turns out that now that I'm a winning capper over 20 units, we are now best friends, me and DX Filer. And it's funny how that works. I appreciate DX and I love DX and I love his friendship. And since I think it's been 3 days now, he added me into a group chat on Twitter, and I was not expecting this. He extended the olive branch. He said, "Hey, I'm going to add you to this group chat." Add me to a group chat with about 40 people. Not expecting this. And I was like, "Whatever, sure." And we're all just talking baseball, talking picks, and now we're talking NFL draft. And these people have sources, they're connected. These are all good cappers. Of course, DX would never associate himself with shitty cappers. So now they're connected people with sources. And this guy yesterday in the chat, I won't detox his name. He sent out who the Jets were going to pick. He was at 4, way before, early. You could have bet it at plus 140 with Sauce. Shout out to him. And now he sent another little tidbit for the NFL draft here. And I think it's very interesting. And I don't have FanDuel because where I live. So I need some shopping, some line market shopping, because Bovada does not do all the NFL draft props. But Malik Willis, the rumors, the scuttlebutt is that Malik Willis is going to be either a New York Giant. I was going to say San Francisco. New York Giant. There we go. Or a Minnesota Viking. And right now, and that's going to be a 34, whatever they pick, top of the first or second round. So right now on Bovada or on FanDuel, you can look up team to draft Malik Willis. Vikings is at plus 340 and Giants is at plus 1200. And right now, Jim, the other thing that's confusing, 2022 NFL draft, number 34 overall pick, Malik Willis is minus 150. That pick is for the Vikings. So I don't understand. I need some line shopping here. I need some help because I don't understand that. I would definitely make both of those Malik Willis destinations official just to cover my ass. It makes a whole lot of sense if you think about it from a football quarterback's perspective. Obviously, the Giants don't pick up the option on Danny Dimes. It gives them an out right there. And Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings, they signed a new deal, but Kirk's kind of, up in the air. Let him sit behind him and you develop all that good stuff. So I think those are two good destinations. And I'm refreshed the FanDuel right now, and I'm still seeing, plus 340 and plus 1200. I don't get it. Maybe the Giants or maybe the Vikings trade out of the pick and don't take it. But you guys in the chat, let me know some line shopping here. But Malik Willis to go to the Vikings or Giants seems to be the play. And I'm trusting those guys in that chat, the sources. Shout out to Gamblestein again. I'm trusting them here. So we'll see here. I'll take the Malik Willis trains going to New York or Minnesota.
So Vikings is plus 1200.
The Giants is plus 1200. The Vikings is plus 340.
Okay, let me switch that around. Wow, that was a fascinating story to end the week. That's
thank you. I know I had that all lined up. I appreciate it. By the way, apparently Tease is in that chat. Yeah. I didn't know. I don't know who is in that chat. By the way,
I'm in that chat.
Are you?
Yeah.
See? Yeah. See? He told me, he's like, oh, all your coworkers, all the people you work there with are in that chat. I was like, all right, whatever. And I see 40 people. I don't feel like going through it. And all the people I'm talking to in that chat, I don't know. Like, I don't work with them, I guess. Shout out to Basil, who's in there a lot too. But Nate's in the chat. See, we're just going to figure out, everyone's going to figure all this out in the chat, bully. So if you're in the chat, then you can see the text messages and such. You can see the screenshots. I mean, apparently the Jets are going to get Bryce Hall, whatever his name is, from Iowa State too. So if you can put some shekels on that, go ahead, do that. But those are my two plays I hear to end the show, I guess.
That's wild. Malik Willis to be a Viking at plus 340, a Giant at plus 1200. And Rem Mo says if this hits, Jose can do whatever the fuck he wants forever. And fake Helga is a lucky woman to have him.
Yeah, hey, fake Helga is a lucky woman to have me. That's what I tell her.
Astute's there too.
See, see, I love it. See, and I don't know, maybe I'm breaking the code of the chat since I'm the rookie of the chat. I've been in like 2-3 days. Maybe I'm breaking the code by talking about it out loud. But if you see the bets, why not give it out publicly and see what happens? I was pretty shocked to see those prices. I tried to refresh, and I want to make sure that these are actual lines. That's why I'm asking if the chat can help me like line shop and everything. I want to make sure everything's above board, but it's weird. Plus 1200 for the Giants. I mean, that was a shock. And then plus 300 was an even bigger shock. So, I mean, and the Giants picked 36, by the way. So Vikings 34, Giants 36.
They have here Malik Willis on Bet365 draft position under 36.5 at minus 200. That would go, set you up perfect. Team to draft player. Team to draft Malik Willis. I've got Vikings plus 200, Giants plus 800.
See, I think those are still great lines. Like I said, I don't have we live in Texas here. FanDuel and Texas aren't friends yet. So I don't want to give out a stale line, obviously. So I'll take your 200 and 800, no problem. But
no, you got your lines. You got your lines.
Sure. 12. Those are still crazy to me, And like you said, on FanDuel right now, minus 150 for him to be the 34th pick, I believe. 34th plus 200 for the Vikings. What? Are they expecting him to trade out of that pick? I'll take that chance. The Vikings, I don't know if they've made a pick in this draft yet, so I will take that chance, and I'll take the 200 and 800 and roll off in the sunset, hopefully with Helga in my arms and Molly the dog. And by the way, they did have one pick, a 32nd overall pick. So, yeah, they need picks here. I think they need picks.
Wild. Great breakdown. Great breakdown. I love that. Great story to end up the show. Stick with me here as we put a bow on this. Thank you to everybody that's supporting the show. We have nothing without you guys. Nutflush Allen, Astute Chaos, whose birthday's tomorrow. Tease, Nasty Nate, Rem Most, Jared TG, Real Deal Prime, Brothers and Bets, Lance LaRose, Joshua Chipman, Nutflush Allen, Krista Hood. What a great group. Mad Stoney, Jay Peasy, Dennis Garcia, Chief, Ron Crawford. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. On behalf of Jeff Slaughter, Jose Buchanan.
One thing left for you.
Oh,
by the way, I'm sorry. I hate to break up your lovely outro. You're in a roll. You're doing a great job. I'm on Dylan Bundy today, and I just wanted to show you this because I'll be using this later. It's Dylan Bundy Day, and I believe in Dylan. I believe in Dylan Theodore Bundy. And
that's a good one.
I think that Dylan's going to have a good start, and I have the Twins first 5 minus a half plus 140.
If it's Dylan Bundy, you need some funnier picture. I think. What about like if you get like a woman like bringing like cookies or a pie out of the oven, like something like that with Dylan Bundy's face, something like that, or as president of the United States, maybe giving a address to the people. I don't know.
What president is named Bundy?
None. Zero. You can make him Al Bundy if you want, but I'm just thinking if it's Dylan Bundy Day, how do we celebrate it?
I don't know. Maybe, I just like the names, Kellers and Bundys. That's what I was rolling with.
Maybe cheerleaders throwing up a guy and it's got Bundy's face on it, or maybe the celebration when they're carrying Rudy from
Bundy. Yeah. Well, they said this whole Bundy thing is not going to last for the entire year, like you guys said, but we'll see. But shout out to Dylan and Ted, wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are, absolutely. All right. So we've continued our streak of 3-hour shows. Is this the longest one now?
I don't think so. We've had a 2 hour and 40-minute one, I believe.
3 hour. Yeah.
Well, yes, and I think also we've had this is now 2 straight weeks of 3-hour shows straight.
Yeah, and I didn't sleep last night, so I'm hurting bad. Much love. Let's get that cash, Jose.
Another question for you, actually, since we're doing this. We already announced our lovely Kentucky Derby stuff because we've got our lovely graphics too now as well. You and Razor are doing the show on Friday, correct? And you're gonna tell people about this show, things that are happening on this show.
Pop it up.
See, there you go. There's Cash of Fridays with Razor. Everyone, that's basically the original thumbnail. That's not a big difference, but yeah, apparently we're not doing a show, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, we're going right into horses on Fridays at about 10:15 a.m.
You say that that's like a bad thing. You love the horses. You would rather.
I would rather do the horses, yes, but I know that the cappers in the chat, there's a lot of them that would prefer to have the sports broken down, but not Friday. It's only horses.
Well, I think one day we'll do, and it'll be a fun day, and all the other sports will be broken down across the channel, so it'll be fun. And I look forward to saying I think there should be a pollutant scale on that day. It just as the day goes on, you slowly.
I won't be polluted on Friday. Saturday's too big of a day. We could use that scale on Saturday, but not on Friday.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. As long as your womb gets polluted once this weekend, then I'm okay.
Yeah, it'll we'll get sauced up. I can promise you that. All right, I need to get some bets in. I need a sandwich and maybe nap.
At grilled cheese?
Not a bad idea. Oh, who's that guy? Hey, bud. Look who's here. You want to come say hello? Can you give him space so we can fire? Okay, it's okay. I know you're squeezing in. I respect that. All right, come here, bud.
He's got thick thighs, so it takes him a while to move and to get through small spaces.
Okay. On behalf of all of us, let's have a giant weekend. Happy birthday to Astute Chaos tomorrow. And you want to say good luck, big guy? Just a little wave and smile. Yeah. Get that cash. Get that money. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.